Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the Scion Fanfics. Back with amazing fanfiction. This is the series of What if Deku had solo leveling gaming quirk? Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. The museum is cold. Not physically, the hum of air conditioning keeps the temperature pleasant, but in the way that old buildings feel, steeped in time, filled with remnants of lives long past. The walls are lined with dim lighting, casting a soft glow over artifacts displayed behind thick glass. The air carries a faint, sterile scent of polished wood and aged paper. Izuku walks near the back of the group, hands buried in the pocket of his hoodie, though they itch to grab his notebook. The class trip to Tokyo had been hyped up for weeks, but most of his classmates are already bored. They shuffle along half-heartedly, muttering to each other, barely listening to the guide up front. Even Kaken, usually so loud and restless, looks unimpressed, his hands shoved deep into his pockets as he kicks at the ground. But Izuku? His heart is pounding. Because this isn't just a museum, this is history. The guide, a sharp-eyed older woman with a voice meant to carry over a room full of disinterested teenagers, leads them into the next exhibit. The walls widen, revealing rows of glass cases filled with relics from the pre-Quirk era. Izuku's breath catches as he steps forward. A world without quirks. This section highlights life before the emergence of quirks, the guide explains, gesturing toward a display of outdated electronics. Before the first documented quirk surfaced, humanity relied entirely on science, engineering, and sheer ingenuity to improve their lives. Advances in medicine, technology, and infrastructure were driven by intellect, not ability. Izuku barely hears her. His eyes are locked onto one of the glass cases. An original Game Boy. The rectangular device sits proudly in its case, its plastic surface slightly yellowed with age. A faded Pikachu sticker clings to the back, its edges peeling from years of use. Next to it, a neat stack of game cartridges is arranged in perfect rows, each one labeled in small, blocky text. But that's just the beginning. His gaze flickers over the rest of the exhibit, taking in each artifact like they're relics of some long-lost civilization. A Walkman, its orange foam headphones resting beside it. A tiny plaque explains that people once carried their music in cassette tapes, rewinding and fast-forwarding with physical buttons instead of voice commands or instant downloads. He can almost imagine it flipping a tape, hearing the whir of the reels, the soft click as the music starts again. A rotary phone, its heavy receiver resting atop a circular dial with numbered holes. He watches as another student pokes at it, confused. "Wait, you had to spin this thing for every single number?" The guide chuckles. "Yes. And if you messed up, you had to start all over again." A few students snicker. "Man, that sounds like a nightmare." Izuku doesn't laugh. He's too busy soaking in every detail. There's an old desktop computer nearby, its bulky monitor sitting beside a mechanical keyboard with tall, clunky keys. The screen displays a screenshot of an early internet page, blocky text, pixelated images, a loading bar crawling at an agonizing pace. This was how people accessed information, the guide explains. No instant neural links, no holographic interfaces. If you wanted to learn something, you had to type it out and wait. A stack of VHS tapes sits in another case, their colorful cardboard sleeves featuring hand-drawn illustrations of animated characters. Beside them, an old television, a thick, boxy thing with a curved glass screen, shows a looping clip of static before cutting to a grainy cartoon. Izuku stares in awe. These weren't customized Quirk-generated entertainment experiences. People had to wait for their favorite shows to air at specific times, with no way to control the story. If they missed an episode? That was it. No rewinds. No instant replays. And yet, despite all that, people thrived. Izuku inhales sharply, his hands trembling as he pulls out a brand new notebook, the spine still stiff, the pages crisp and waiting to be filled. He flips to the first blank page and starts scribbling furiously, his pen flying across the paper. No quirks. No enhancements. And they still built all of this. He pauses, his handwriting a little messier than usual in his excitement, and stares at the last note. Everyone back then was like him. No fire wielders. No people who could level buildings with a punch. No one born inherently better than anyone else. Just humans. Just effort. A part of him, a quiet, bitter part that he usually tries to ignore, wonders if he would have been better off in that world. Because in this world, a quirkless person like him is worthless. But back then? He would have been just like everyone else. His intelligence, his drive, his obsession with studying and analyzing those things would have mattered. People wouldn't have taken one look at him and decided he was weak, broken, less lame. A familiar voice scoffs from behind him. Izuku flinches, his grip on his pen tightening. Kaken stands a few steps back, arms crossed, his expression dripping with disdain. No heroes? No powers? What did people even do all day? Izuku doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. Other students laugh, a few muttering their agreement, already losing interest in the exhibit. The guide, to her credit, doesn't falter. They worked, she replies coolly. They created. They built civilizations, developed medicines, invented machines, all without supernatural abilities. They relied on their ingenuity and perseverance to survive. Izuku swallows hard, forcing himself to stay silent. He wants to say something. Wants to point out how impressive it all is. How entire cities were built without a single quirk, how wars were fought with strategy rather than overwhelming power, how ordinary people made discoveries that changed the world. But he knows better. If he speaks up, Kaken will take the opportunity to humiliate him in front of the entire class. Again. So he just stands there, gripping his pen, watching as his classmates dismiss the past like it means nothing. Another student mutters, boring, and the group moves on. Izuku lingers for just a second longer, fingers tightening around the edges of his notebook. He glances down at the fresh page, filled with his hurried, eager scrawl. Then he looks back up at the faded Game Boy, the peeling sticker, the tiny glimpse of a world that once existed. Maybe in another life, he would have belonged there. The guide claps her hands together. All right, everyone, let's keep moving. There's still plenty to see. Even Kaken falls in line, though not because he's afraid of being punished. Their teacher never really reprimands him, just steers him like a force of nature that needs to be redirected rather than controlled. Izuku lingers at the case for a moment longer before reluctantly following the group into the next room. This one is darker, the lighting adjusted to highlight a single, massive display. Holographic images flicker above the exhibits, showcasing newspaper clippings and old video footage. The emergence of Quirks. The moment that changed the world forever. The first recorded Quirk user was a baby born in China, the guide explains, her voice taking on the rhythm of a well-practiced speech. From there, Quirks spread rapidly, altering the very foundation of society. Izuku has heard this all before. He's read every book, watched every documentary. He knows the statistics, the timelines, the way the world reshaped itself around the existence of powers. He scribbles down a few more notes in his brand new notebook, the pages already filling with observations, but his mind is only half focused. The group moves toward the next exhibit, and Izuku follows without much thought, still absorbed in his notes. His fingers are smudged with ink as he writes, mumbling softly to himself as he processes everything he's taken in. The next room is different. Larger. More open. At its center stands an obelisk, something ancient, weathered, yet strangely untouched by time. Its surface is smooth stone, but deep veins of a blue, purple color light pulse faintly within it, shifting like trapped energy. The glow reminds Izuku of something, though he can't quite place what. This, the guide says, gesturing toward the towering structure, is one of 7 identical obelisks discovered over a century ago. They appeared simultaneously, scattered across the world, one in Japan, one in North America, one in South America, one in Europe, one in Africa, one in Australia, and one in Antarctica. Even now, no one knows where they came from, how they were made, or what their purpose is. A murmur passes through the group. 7 identical structures, appearing out of nowhere? Even in a world of quirks, that was eerie. Each obelisk is identical in appearance and composition, completely impervious to damage. No quirk, no technology, no force has ever left a mark on them. Attempts to excavate or relocate them have all failed. It is as if they are rooted in place, immovable. Izuku tilts his head, scribbling down a few notes. An unexplained phenomenon from before quirks? That's rare. Most mysteries of the past have been solved by now, rewritten in the wake of new abilities and scientific breakthroughs. But this? This remains a question mark. Each obelisk has an identical plaque affixed to its base, the guide continues. The message is always the same, despite the different languages it is written in. Izuku steps closer, eyes scanning the metallic plaque embedded in the stone. The text is simple, yet its weight settles in his chest like a physical thing. To those who are worthy, beyond this point lies a trial. Prove yourself, and you shall inherit the power of the Shadow Monarch. Turn back now, and remain as you are. The words send a shiver down Izuku's spine. Who was the Shadow Monarch? What trial? A hand goes up in the crowd. What's the trial mentioned on the plaque? The guide smiles wryly. That, my dear, is another mystery. No one has ever been able to make anything happen. Despite countless studies and experiments, the obelisks remain inactive, completely inert to every attempt to interact with them. She gestures toward the base of the monument, where the faintly glowing plaque is embedded. That being said, visitors are permitted to touch the surface, should they wish to try their luck. After all, who knows? Maybe one of you will be the first to unlock its secrets. A ripple of amusement runs through the group, half-hearted chuckles and skeptical glances. Some students exchange looks before stepping forward, their movements hesitant but curious. The first girl places her palm flat against the stone, fingers splayed wide. She holds her breath waiting, then exhales in disappointment when nothing happens. Another student follows, then another, each with the same result. The obelisk remains cold, silent, indifferent. A few linger longer, running their fingers over the smooth, ancient surface as if hoping to find some hidden groove, some unseen mechanism that might trigger a reaction. But the stone gives nothing away. Then Kaken strides forward with his usual confidence, shoving past the students lingering too long in front of him. Move. He rolls his shoulders, cracks his knuckles, then slaps his palm flat against the stone with an audible smack. A few students flinch at the sound. He sneers at the obelisk, eyes gleaming with something like challenge. Come on, then. Do something. Nothing. Not a flicker, not even the faintest pulse of light. The stone remains as unyielding as ever. After a beat, Kaken scoffs and pulls his hand back, shoving it into his pocket like he couldn't care less. TCH, figures. Probably some dumb hoax. A few kids nod in agreement, losing interest. Yeah, it's just an old rock, someone mutters. What did they expect? Izuku watches, heart hammering. His fingers tighten around his notebook. This isn't just an old rock. This is something else, something no one understands, something that defies explanation even in a world where people can breathe fire and bend steel with their bare hands. 7 of these obelisks had appeared, scattered across the world like puzzle pieces no one knew how to put together. No known creator. No signs of construction. They simply were. And the words on the plaque. To those who enter, beyond this point lies a trial. Prove yourself, and you shall inherit the power of the Shadow Monarch. Turn back now, and remain as you are. A trial. A test of some kind. But for what? And who? What was the Shadow Monarch? His mind whirls with theories. A long-lost civilization? An experiment gone wrong? A quirk no one had been able to activate? The possibilities are endless, and he needs to know more. He's still thinking, still processing, when Kaken suddenly turns toward him, smirk sharpening like the edge of a blade. What about you, Deku? He drawls, voice laced with mockery. Maybe this will finally give you the powers you wish so badly for. A few kids snicker. Someone whispers under their breath. Izuku swallows hard, the familiar sting settling in his chest. It doesn't matter. He's used to it. He squares his shoulders, ignoring the warmth of humiliation creeping up his neck, and steps forward. Up close, the obelisk looms over him, taller than it seemed from a distance. The surface is impossibly smooth, save for the faint veins of violet light running beneath it, shifting and pulsing like something alive. He hesitates for half a second, every logical part of his mind reminding him that this is pointless. It had never reacted before. It wouldn't react now. And yet. His breath catches as he lifts a trembling hand. His fingers brush against the stone. The moment his palm makes full contact, the world lurches. The museum disappears. Everything vanishes in an instant, swept away like dust in the wind. Darkness swallows him whole. And then, silence. TBC? For a single, horrifying moment, Izuku feels like he's missed a step on a staircase except infinitely worse. His stomach lurches. His breath vanishes. Gravity twists violently beneath him, yanking him down, down, down. It's not falling, it's plummeting, weightless and directionless, as if the entire world has slipped out from under him. And then. Impact. His feet slam into solid ground, the force jolting up his legs. He stumbles forward, arms flailing for balance, but the shift is so disorienting that it takes several frantic heartbeats before he even registers where he is. The air is heavy. Thick. Full of power, almost. It presses against his skin like unseen hands. A damp chill seeps into his clothes, carrying the scent of ancient stone and something metallic, sharp like old blood and rusted iron. His breath hitches as he takes in his surroundings. A vast, cathedral-like chamber stretches before him, its ceiling swallowed by darkness. Towering stone pillars loom in the flickering blue torchlight, their surfaces impossibly smooth, worn down by time or something else. The space is massive, overwhelming, ancient. The architecture is neither modern nor familiar, it feels like something pulled from myth, a relic of a forgotten era that should not exist. No museum. No classmates. No obelisk. Nothing but stone and silence. Izuku swallows hard, his fingers tightening around his notebook like a lifeline. His pen is gone, lost somewhere in the void that brought him here. His pulse pounds in his ears, too fast, too loud. Where? His voice is barely more than a whisper, swallowed almost instantly by the cavernous space. He forces himself to move, taking a hesitant step forward. The floor beneath him is uneven, the stone cool against the soles of his shoes. There are no doors, no windows, no visible exits, only the eerie glow of the torches and the endless, yawning dark beyond them. Then a sound. Soft. Deliberate. Footsteps. Izuku goes rigid. The shadows shift not randomly, but with intent. A shape emerges from the darkness, solidifying into a tall, unmistakably human figure. A man. He is clad in black, his long coat flowing behind him like ink spilling through water. His face is sharp, elegant, with piercing dark eyes that gleam like polished obsidian. His presence is suffocating, the air around him thrumming with something immense. Power. Izuku instinctively takes a step back, every instinct screaming at him to run. But his feet stay rooted in place, his body caught between fear and something else, something deeper. The man does not move closer. He only watches, his expression unreadable. For a long moment, the only sound is Izuku's own shaky breathing and the flickering of the torches. The silence stretches between them, thick and expectant. Then, at last, the man speaks. "Who are you?" His voice is smooth, calm, but beneath it, there is something else. A weight. A presence that coils around the words, making them feel heavier than a simple question should. The way he says it makes Izuku feel as though he is being measured, as if unseen scales are tipping back and forth, determining his worth. Izuku swallows, his throat dry. His hands clench around his notebook, knuckles white. The answer sticks. His name, that's what the man wants, isn't it? Or, is it? The way he looks at him makes Izuku doubt, but he answers anyway. "I'm Izuku Midoriya." The man hums, considering this as though it's a puzzle piece he's testing the fit of. His dark eyes flicker sharp, knowing. And who is Izuku Midoriya? Izuku's breath stutters. What? The man does not elaborate. He merely watches, waiting. Something about the question unsettles Izuku. He has been asked his name thousands of times. He has introduced himself in class, to strangers, in interviews, always with the same rehearsed certainty. But here, under this man's gaze, the answer does not feel enough. The words on his tongue feel empty. His fingers tighten. His mind races. Who am I? A middle school student. A quirkless nobody. Someone who wants to be a hero but can't. Someone who... I don't know, he admits, barely above a whisper. His stomach twists at the confession, but he forces himself to continue. I know who I want to be. Who I wish I could be. The words feel raw, too vulnerable, but he says them anyway. Because it's the truth. The man tilts his head slightly. The flickering torchlight casts shifting shadows across his face, making his expression unreadable. But his voice is steady when he speaks again. And who is that? A shiver runs down Izuku's spine. The way he asks it isn't idle curiosity. It feels like a challenge. A promise. Izuku draws in a shaky breath. I want to be a hero. His voice gains strength as he says it. I want to help people. To save them. To be strong enough to stand in front of danger and win. He doesn't say it to impress. He says it because it is everything to him. Because that's what a hero does, isn't it? A real hero doesn't hesitate. A real hero doesn't back down just because they're scared. A real hero stands up, no matter how many times they've been knocked down. And yet he has never been able to. Izuku swallows hard, fists clenching at his sides. But I can't. I have no quirk. No power. In a world full of superhumans, I'm just an ordinary person. The words sting coming out, as if saying them out loud makes them more real. I've spent my whole life watching from the sidelines, wanting to help but never being strong enough to do anything. Wanting to prove that even someone like me can be a hero, but no one believes that. His breath hitches slightly, but he forces himself to keep going. This man, whoever he is listening. Truly listening. Not laughing at him, not dismissing him as foolish or delusional like everyone else. Izuku presses forward, heart hammering in his chest. I know what people say. That I should give up. That without a quirk, I'll never be strong enough to stand where real heroes do. I hear it every day. His voice trembles, but he pushes through the lump in his throat, but I can't stop wanting it. Even if it's impossible, even if it's stupid, I still want to try. He forces himself to meet the man's gaze. Because heroes save people. And I want to be the kind of person who can do that. Even if I have nothing right now, even if I have to claw my way forward with my bare hands, I want to be strong enough to help others. To make a difference. The man watches him for a long moment, unreadable. The silence stretches, thick with something unspoken. Izuku's chest rises and falls with his breath, his heart pounding against his ribs. Then, at last, the man moves. His lips curve just slightly. Then, slowly, he lifts his hand. The chamber shifts. Shadows ripple, thickening like ink spreading through water. A pulse of dark energy thrums through the air deep, slow, like a heartbeat beneath the stone. The torches flicker, casting warped, stretching shapes against the towering pillars. The pressure in the room changes, pressing against Izuku's skin, making the hair on his arms stand on end. Izuku's breath catches in his throat. The man studies him, his gaze sharp, piercing, as if making a decision. Then, at last, he speaks. I have been waiting a long time for someone like you. Izuku blinks. A chill laces through his chest. Like me? His voice wavers slightly. I don't understand. The man's lips curve, the barest hint of something, almost a smile, but there is something unreadable in his eyes. Something deep. Neither did I, at first, he says. But understanding comes with experience. He looks Izuku over, measuring something unseen. Do you wish to become stronger? The question strikes something in him. Strength. The word burns through Izuku's mind, igniting every memory that has ever told him he isn't enough. Bakugo's taunts. The jeers of his classmates. The suffocating reality of being quirkless in a world where strength defines everything. His throat tightens. He doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. The man already knows. Good, the man says simply. Because this will not be easy. Izuku stares. He takes an uncertain step back, his pulse hammering. What is that? The man does not answer immediately. Instead, he steps aside, revealing the full breadth of the threshold. A trial, the man says. A test of will, of survival. If you enter, there is no turning back until you succeed or die. Izuku's breath catches. Die? His fingers tighten around his notebook, knuckles turning white. The weight of those words presses down on him like a vice. There's no bluff, no exaggeration in the man's tone. He means it. Izuku's mind races. This is insane. He has no idea where he is, how he got here, or even who this man is. And now he's being told that if he steps forward, he might die? That this whatever this is a test where failure isn't just disappointing, but fatal? His entire body screams at him to turn back. Run. Get out of here before it's too late. This isn't normal. This isn't safe. But, when has the world ever been safe for him? His nails dig into his palms. Wait, his voice wavers, but he forces himself to speak. You're saying I could die? Just like that? What even is this? What's the reward? What do I get if I survive? The man watches him carefully, his expression unreadable. The shadows around him seem to pulse with quiet amusement, as if they already know what Izuku will choose. The obelisk was built for one purpose, he says at last. To find a successor. Izuku blinks. A successor? The man nods, taking a slow step forward. The air shifts. The darkness in the chamber stirs at his movement, responding as if alive. He lifts his hand, and suddenly, the shadows ripple outward like a wave, swallowing the space behind him. Then power. It pulses through the air, thick and undeniable, pressing down on Izuku's very soul. It's vast, terrifying in its intensity, something beyond human comprehension. The shadows at the man's feet ripple, stretching outward like ink spilling across the stone floor. They crawl toward Izuku, slow at first, then faster, reaching, devouring the light. And then eyes. Dozens of them. Glowing, unblinking, shifting within the darkness like predators lurking just beneath the surface of a black ocean. Some are small, barely flickering pinpricks. Others are large, impossibly large, their golden glow cutting through the void like slits in the abyss. Izuku freezes. His breath catches in his throat. He doesn't understand what he's looking at. Is it a quirk? Some kind of illusion? But it feels too real, too heavy, pressing against his senses like something ancient and alive. The man does not move, does not speak. He simply watches, the ever-growing darkness swirling around him. The presence of those eyes watching, waiting makes Izuku feel as though he's been dragged into the depths of something far beyond himself. A cold sweat clings to the back of his neck. What is he? What is this power? Izuku gulps. This isn't a trick. This isn't a joke. This man, whoever he is, holds an overwhelming, impossible power. And he's offering it to him? If you succeed, the man continues, lowering his hand and allowing the shadows to settle, you will inherit my strength. My legacy. Izuku's mouth is dry. It sounds too good to be true. A dream. A fantasy. But then hasn't he been waiting for a miracle anyway? All his life, he's been told that wanting to be a hero is foolish. That he'll never have power, never be strong enough to stand on the same level as others. That he should stop chasing a dream that will only lead to heartbreak. But what if this is it? His one and only shot. You have a choice. The man's voice is even, yet it carries the weight of the world. You may leave now, and this place will forget you. Or you can step forward and discover who you truly can become. Think it over carefully. Izuku's heart pounds. He takes a shaky breath. And then, before he can change his mind, he steps forward. TBC. Izuku takes a deep breath. His heart is pounding, his hands shaking, but he forces himself to nod. I'll do it. The man's expression shifts, a slow, knowing smile appearing on his face. Not mocking, not cruel, satisfied. Like he had expected this answer. Good, he says. His voice is rich with something Izuku can't quite place. Approval, perhaps. Or amusement at Izuku's foolish bravery. But then his expression sobers. His presence remains overwhelming, the shadows still shifting around him, but his tone is firm when he speaks next. Nothing that happens next will be easy, he warns. Nothing in the rest of your life will be easy. No power will be handed to you. Every inch of strength you gain will be earned. Every lesson will be hard won. You will fight, you will struggle, and you will bleed. But, he pauses, gaze steady. It will be worth it. There is something in his voice. Something deeper than just a warning. Experience. A truth forged in fire, in trials of his own. Izuku swallows. He knows it won't be easy. But his life has never been easy. And if this is even a chance to become something more, then he'll take it. What is the trial? He asks, voice barely above a whisper. The man hums. A simple test. That makes Izuku blink. Simple? In concept. The man tilts his head slightly. But the world is different now. There are no dungeons left, no monsters waiting for you outside the system. Not in the way there once were. So this test will be different, too. Before Izuku can ask what that means, something changes. A soft chime echoes in the air, and suddenly, a screen appears before his eyes. A transparent screen. Floating in midair, its soft blue glow illuminating the darkness. The text is simple, yet somehow the weight of the words makes Izuku's stomach twist. Star Operator, trial, in search of an heir. Objective, survive until the time limit expires. Do you accept? Yes, no. Star Operator. Izuku stares. Izuku stares at the glowing screen, his breath caught somewhere between awe and disbelief. His fingers twitch, itching to take notes, to document this because this is insane. A screen? Is this a quirk? Yours, maybe? But then, if not a quirk, what else could it be? Some kind of external system? A technology-based quirk? But it's too solid, it's not a projection or hologram, at least not in any known weight. It called itself a trial, so does that mean it's been pre-programmed? But how is it appearing in my vision? Is it neural-linked? No, that would require a device unless it's interacting directly with my nervous system, which would mean. He keeps going, voice growing faster, words tumbling over each other in a frantic mumble as his mind spirals through theories at lightning speed. Then he hears it. A quiet, amused chuckle. Izuku freezes. Slowly, he looks up to see the man watching him, arms crossed, a smirk tugging at the corners of his mouth. His dark eyes glimmer with amusement, and something about the sheer patience in his expression makes Izuku feel like a kid caught rambling in front of a teacher. The man shakes his head. Everything will be explained to you after you survive the trial. Izuku swallows. Right, he says weakly. After. Got it. He looks back at the floating screen, heart hammering against his ribs. Survive. He has to survive. His fingers tighten, and with one last breath, he decides. Star Operator. Yes. Star Operator. Izuku barely has a second to react before the ground beneath him disappears. His stomach lurches, the chamber, the obelisk, Jinwoo, everything vanishes in an instant. The air rushes past him, a weightless, terrifying freefall that lasts just long enough for panic to fully set in. And then, thud. The impact knocks the breath from his lungs. He lands hard on what feels like cracked, dry ground, pain jolting through his knees and elbows. Sand and dust billow around him, scratching at his skin, stinging his eyes. He coughs, forcing himself upright, only to freeze. The world around him is wrong. Gone is the ancient chamber of stone and shadow. Instead, he is surrounded by an endless wasteland of sand and jagged rock. The sky above is a dark, suffocating void, starless, sunless, yet the landscape is somehow illuminated in an eerie, dim glow, as if lit by something just beyond his perception. The air is dry, stale, pressing in on him like a weight. And then he hears it. A skittering sound. Izuku's breath catches. Slowly so slowly he turns his head. Emerging from the dunes, their massive, segmented bodies undulating with inhuman grace, are monsters. Giant. Centipede. Monsters. Chitinous armor gleams in the dim light, their grotesque, oversized mandibles clicking hungrily. Their bodies are massive, stretching longer than buses, legs moving in a synchronized, nightmare-inducing rhythm as they scuttle across the sand. Their beady, pupil-less eyes glisten with something, aware. Izuku doesn't scream. He wants to, but his body moves first. Run. He bolts. The sand shifts beneath his feet as he sprints, lungs burning, every instinct in his body screaming at him to move, move, move. What is this place? A chime echoes in his ears. A screen flickers into existence in the corner of his vision. Star Operator, trial, in search of an heir. Objective, survive until the time limit expires. Time remaining, 59 minutes and 48 seconds. Star Operator, an hour? Izuku nearly trips over his own feet as he reads it. He has to survive for a whole hour? A monstrous shriek pierces the air behind him. He risks a glance over his shoulder. And regrets it instantly. The centipedes are faster than they have any right to be. One of them lunges, its gaping maw stretching open as if to swallow him whole. Izuku screams and veers sharply to the side, barely avoiding the snapping mandibles. His heart slams against his ribs, pure terror giving his legs new speed as he keeps running. He doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't know if there's even anywhere to go. But stopping means dying. And he refuses to die here. Izuku's lungs burn. His legs scream. His throat is raw from gasping in the dry, suffocating air. And the monsters don't stop chasing him. He stumbles over the uneven ground, barely catching himself before he faceplants into the sand. He doesn't have time to recover. Not when the skittering behind him is getting closer. He throws himself forward, pushing his body harder than it's ever gone before. Faster, faster. Star Operator, time remaining, 51 minutes and 21 seconds. Star Operator, not even 10 minutes. He has to survive for an hour and he's already dying. His body isn't built for this. He's weak, scrawny, out of shape. He's never needed to run for his life before. He's never needed to fight before. And now? Now he's being hunted. A monstrous screech splits the air. He risks another glance back. Bad idea. One of the centipedes is nearly on top of him, its massive body twisting as it lunges forward. Izuku yelps. And throws himself to the side once again, rolling down a dune in an explosion of sand. He scrambles up the moment he stops, hands and knees scraped raw, and runs before the monster can correct its course. He needs to hide. He isn't fast enough to outrun them forever. His only hope is to find somewhere anywhere to take cover. His wild eyes scan the terrain, desperate for anything that isn't just open desert. There's a crack in a rock formation ahead. Hope surges through him. He forces his aching legs to move faster, sprinting toward the narrow opening. If he can squeeze inside. Something slams into his back. Izuku crashes forward, pain flaring through his ribs as he skids across the rocky ground. He barely has time to roll away before massive pincers stab into the ground where he had just been. He scrambles up and dives for the crevice. His shoulders barely squeeze through as he shoves himself inside. The sharp rocks scrape against his skin, cutting into his arms and sides. But he makes it. The centipede shrieks in frustration, its huge mandibles snapping just outside the opening. Its beady black eyes glare at him through the crack. Izuku presses himself flat against the rock, shaking, panting. He can't do this. He's not strong enough, not fast enough. This place is going to kill him. He bites down on the rising panic, forcing himself to breathe. The seconds tick by. His heart pounds in his ears, loud enough that he thinks the centipede must be able to hear it. Star Operator, time remaining, 45 minutes and 44 seconds. Star Operator, almost 15 minutes down. 45 more to go. His body hurts. His lungs are still burning, his limbs still shaking. The centipede outside the crack is waiting, its grotesque form shifting in the dim light. It isn't leaving. Izuku squeezes his eyes shut, swallowing against the fear clawing at his throat. Mum. A fresh wave of panic wells up inside him. If he dies here, if he never comes back, she'll be alone. She's already spent years worrying about him, trying to be strong for him. She needs him. And he's just left her. Izuku's breath shudders. No. No, he won't let that happen. He has to survive. For her. For himself. Star Operator, time remaining, 37 minutes and 12 seconds. Star Operator, the centipede still isn't leaving. Izuku clenches his fists. He can't just stay here forever. The moment time runs out, the trial will end, but what if these things don't disappear? What if they're still here when it's over? He can't risk it. He inches forward, peeking out just enough to see the monster's position. It's close, too close. But maybe if he's fast enough. Izuku lunges out of the crack and runs. The centipede screeches in surprise before surging after him. His legs are so heavy now, but he pushes through it. He dodges between rocks, twists through uneven terrain, forcing the monster to maneuver around obstacles. His body is screaming. His breaths are ragged, his vision blurry. But he keeps moving. He doesn't stop. Star Operator, time remaining, 29 minutes and 39 seconds. Star Operator, half an hour left. He stumbles over a loose rock, crashing down hard. The pain barely registers. He rolls just in time to avoid the centipede's snapping jaws. Come on, he hisses, voice hoarse. Just let me live. The monster doesn't listen. Izuku forces himself up and keeps running. Star Operator, time remaining, 23 minutes and 10 seconds. Star Operator, his body is on the verge of collapse. His breath is a ragged mess. His legs feel like they're detached from his body. But he's still alive. That has to count for something. Star Operator, time remaining, 16 minutes and 55 seconds. Star Operator, almost there. The centipedes haven't stopped hunting him. They've been on his heels for hours, never relenting. But Izuku hasn't given up either. He refuses to. Star Operator, time remaining, 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Star Operator, come on. He dodges left, ducks under a massive limb, scrambles over a rock, just keeps going. He isn't sure how he's still moving. His muscles should have given up ages ago. Izuku's heart slams against his ribs. He can't feel his legs anymore. His muscles are locking up, his breath is a ragged, uneven mess. The world tilts as he stumbles over the shifting sand. But he forces himself forward. The centipedes are right behind him, their monstrous bodies slithering over the dunes, pincers snapping. He doesn't dare look back. Star Operator, time remaining, 1 minute and 10 seconds. Star Operator, come on. He throws himself toward the next dune, dragging himself up with the last of his strength. The ground trembles beneath him as the monsters close in. He's almost there. A shadow looms over him. Too close. Izuku barely has time to turn before a massive pincer pierces through his side. Pain. White-hot and blinding, all-consuming. Izuku screams. The world explodes into agony as the centipede lifts him off the ground, its massive head rearing back. His blood drips onto the sand, steaming in the desert heat. No. His hands scrabble uselessly against the creature's thick exoskeleton. His vision blurs, his body convulsing from the sheer shock of the injury. The centipede's mandibles open wide. Izuku stares into the black, glistening abyss of its mouth. And he knows. He's going to die. He failed. Star Operator, time remaining, 3 seconds. Star Operator, the jaws snap forward. Izuku has just enough time to see his own death. Star Operator, time remaining, midnight. Trial complete. Star Operator, everything stops. The pain. The heat. The air itself. For a split second, time is frozen. And then the world shatters. The centipede disappears. The desert crumbles away. Reality rips apart around him like paper, dissolving into nothing. Izuku falls. He falls and falls, weightless in the void, his mind still screaming that he's dying, that he's already dead. But his heart is still beating. He lands, heavily, on a hard surface. And for a second, it is enough to blind him from the pain. When his vision finally clears, he's somewhere else entirely. A familiar, dark chamber. A man waiting for him with knowing eyes. Izuku's breath shudders. He isn't dead. He survived. Izuku hits the ground hard. The impact rattles through his bones, knocking the breath from his lungs. Pain explodes across his body, sharp and immediate. He groans, barely able to move, every nerve in his body screaming in agony. Everything hurts. His arms tremble as he pushes himself up, fingers pressing against smooth, cold stone. Not sand. Not the scorching heat of the desert. Stone. He blinks rapidly, confused. The suffocating heat is gone. The endless, monster-infested wasteland is gone. The giant centipede that had been about to tear him apart is gone. Instead, flickering torchlight dances along dark walls. The chamber is silent, heavy with an unnatural stillness. He's back. Somehow, impossibly he's alive. Izuku sags, gasping for breath. His body still feels wrecked, his arms and legs are covered in dark bruises, his side burns from where the centipede's pincers pierced him, and he's soaked in blood. Then, a sound. A sharp, mechanical ping. A glowing blue screen materializes in front of him, bright against the dim chamber. Star Operator, trial completed. Congratulations. You have survived the trial. You have proven your determination. Star Operator, Izuku stares. His breath catches in his throat. He feels like he's hallucinating. Then, something shifts nearby. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, approach him. Izuku forces himself to look up. The man from before is standing there, watching him with unreadable eyes. He looks exactly the same as before, calm, composed, as if he hadn't just thrown Izuku into hell itself, but there's something assessing in the way he looks at him now. Like he's seeing something new. Izuku wants to speak, to demand answers, but his throat is raw from screaming, and his entire body feels like it's barely being held together. His head swims, exhaustion pressing down on him. Then, a small object flies toward him. Instinct takes over, and Izuku weakly catches it before it can hit his face. A vial. Inside, a strange red liquid glows faintly. He stares at it in confusion. Drink it. The man's voice is steady. Come. Izuku hesitates. He isn't sure he trusts him, this mysterious figure who sent him into that nightmare, who watched him nearly die. But then he shifts, and pain flares in his side, sharp and unrelenting. He clenches his jaw. What other choice does he have? With shaking hands, he uncorks the vial and swallows the liquid in one desperate gulp. His body jerks as the sensation spreads, the pain draining away. He glows green, somehow, and the aches in his body disappear. The deep bruises, the puncture wounds, the torn muscles, everything knits itself back together in mere seconds. Izuku gasps, eyes wide. Even the physical exhaustion is gone, though the sheer mental strain of what he just went through is still there, but the pain is gone. His body feels whole. Stronger, even. What, he rasps, staring at his hands, was that? The man tilts his head slightly, as if considering his answer. A healing potion. Izuku's lips part, but he has no words. Potions? Like actual, fantasy video game potions? His thoughts are spiraling, barely beginning to process any of this when the man finally speaks again. You did well, he says. Most would have died in the first 10 minutes. Izuku swallows. He wants to say that doesn't make me feel any better, but his throat is still dry, his mind still reeling. The man steps closer. His gaze is steady, unwavering. Now that you've survived, he says, it's time for a proper introduction. He pauses. Then, with a small, knowing smile, he says, my name is Sung Jin-woo. Izuku stares at him. His breath is still uneven, his body still recovering from the pure terror of the trial. His mind barely has time to process the name Sung Jin-woo before the man speaks again. You have inherited my power, Jin-woo says simply. Izuku blinks. What? The words don't make sense. Inherited? He barely survived that nightmare. He doesn't feel powerful, he feels like he just barely crawled out of his own grave. But Jin-woo only continues, his voice steady, patient. What you've gone through the trial was a test. To see if you had the determination to endure. To survive. That was only the beginning. Izuku swallows hard. His mouth is dry. Jin-woo's dark eyes don't waver. You are now bound to the system. A shiver runs down Izuku's spine at that word. The system. The name sounds so final. Like something that can't be undone. And then. Ping! Another screen blinks into existence before his eyes. Star Operator, congratulations. You have inherited the system. You are now a player. The path to power has been unlocked. Star Operator. Izuku's breath catches. I don't understand. He stares at the glowing text, barely resisting the urge to touch it. What does this mean? Jin-woo watches him for a moment before responding. It means, he says, you now have the same power I once had. Izuku's heart pounds in his chest. Izuku's mind stutters at Jin-woo's words. You had this power, he repeats. As in past tense? Jin-woo doesn't blink. Yes. Izuku's throat goes dry. Why? His voice comes out small. What happened to you? There's a pause. Then, I died. Izuku freezes. His breath hitches, and his heart feels like it skips a beat. Jin-woo is standing right there, looking at him with those deep, knowing eyes. Solid. Real. And yet, you're dead? Izuku repeats, his voice barely above a whisper. Jin-woo nods. A long time ago. Izuku stares, his chest tight, his brain struggling to comprehend. But how? I'm an imprint, Jin-woo explains. A shadow left behind by the system. A piece of myself, set to guide the one who would inherit my power. His eyes narrow slightly. It wouldn't do for my army to waste away with no master. The system exists so that my strength wouldn't disappear. Someone, he looks Izuku over, someone like you had to inherit it. Izuku's hands shake. The weight of everything crashes down on him all at once. The pain and the terror from the trial. And now, this? The system? He inherited power from someone who was already dead? Someone who left this behind on purpose? He can barely process it. His mind is a whirlwind, questions spinning like a hurricane. Why him? What does Jin-woo mean by someone like him? Jin-woo watches his face carefully. Then, as if sensing Izuku's spiraling thoughts, he shifts. Darkness unfurls around his feet. Izuku flinches. Not from fear, no, it's more than that. It's instinctive. A reaction to the way the shadows spread, stretching unnaturally, consuming the light. Then, they rise. Figures emerge from the darkness, one after another, towering over Izuku. Their eyes glow an eerie, piercing blue. Izuku's breath catches. They aren't just shapes. They aren't just shadows. They're monsters. No. Soldiers. The first to step forward is a knight, clad in dark, jagged armor. His very presence is suffocating, radiating an aura of absolute authority. His sword, impossibly large, gleams even in the dim light. His helmet is smooth and angular, its visor revealing nothing but twin blazing blue eyes. He kneels before Jinwoo without hesitation. Izuku gulps, his stomach twisting at the sheer lethality radiating from him. Then another figure moves, a hulking bear-like creature, towering over both of them. Its black fur is thick, rippling with unnatural strength, and when it exhales, Izuku can see the mist of its breath. A second, equally massive bear steps up beside it, their claws flexing as though ready to tear through anything in their path. Izuku's legs almost give out. Then, an orc emerges larger than any orc Izuku has seen in games or fantasy novels, with massive tusks and armor made of dark metal. His muscles bulge beneath his plate, and his crimson cape sways as he slams a fist to his chest in a show of loyalty. Another shadow appears, looming above the rest. It isn't humanoid at all. It's a dragon or close to one. A wyvern, perhaps, its sleek black body coiled with raw power, its wings shifting as it glares down at Izuku. The sheer weight of its presence makes Izuku tremble. But nothing makes his skin crawl as much as the final figure. It moves with inhuman grace, its long, twisted limbs clicking unnervingly with each step. Its exoskeleton gleams, its mandibles twitching in what looks almost like a smile. The air grows thicker, a suffocating dread settling in Izuku's gut. Then, in a voice that sounds off, the creature chirps. Izuku shrieks and nearly trips over himself. Jinwoo chuckles. Izuku snaps his gaze to him. How, why, what, who? Izuku sputters, pointing at the thing that just spoke. This is Baru, Jinwoo says, gesturing toward the nightmare creature with amusement. One of my strongest generals. Izuku gawks as the monster Baru tilts its head, looking far too pleased with itself. He tries desperately to reassemble his mind. This is insane. This is beyond anything he's ever dreamed of. These creatures, these soldiers. They are my army, Jinwoo says simply, voice steady. Loyal to me even in death. His expression turns slightly wistful. But now, they are waiting for someone new. Izuku's heart pounds. You mean, he swallows. They'll serve me? Jinwoo nods. Once you're strong enough. Izuku gulps. His body still hurts, his mind is still reeling, but DMN if this isn't the most insane thing he's ever heard. An army of shadows? Waiting for him? Jinwoo's gaze sharpens. But not yet. Izuku barely manages a nod. Jinwoo waves a hand, and the shadow soldiers sink back into the darkness, vanishing as if they were never there. The system will guide you, Jinwoo says. Right now, you're only level 1. Izuku blinks, thrown by the sudden change in topic. Level 1? Jinwoo gestures toward the floating screen still open in front of Izuku. Your stats, your abilities, they'll grow as you level up. Izuku glances at the screen, seeing the bold level 1 staring back at him. He barely feels like a level 1 anything. But Jinwoo continues. As you grow, you'll unlock more skills. More power. The system will reward you for your progress. Izuku's lips part slightly. That means he can get stronger. His heart beats faster. Stronger. Finally. Jinwoo's voice cuts through his thoughts. I know why you fight, he says, and Izuku snaps his head up to meet his gaze. Jinwoo's expression is unreadable. You're like me, he says simply. Driven to get stronger. But for the right reasons. Izuku's chest tightens. He doesn't even have words. Because somehow, this dead man understands. Understands what Izuku has always felt in his bones. The need to be strong enough. Strong enough to save people. Strong enough to not be helpless ever again. His fingers curl into fists. Jinwoo watches him for a moment longer then smirks. It might feel overwhelming, for now. All this. I know it was for me, but I think you'll do just fine. Izuku swallows hard, his heart still racing from everything Jinwoo just told him. His head is spinning with questions, but one thing is clear. This is real. The floating screen in front of him, the one that first told him he had cleared the trial, is still there, glowing softly. Now that he's looking properly, he sees something else flashing in the corner. Star operator. New notifications available. Star operator. Jinwoo follows his gaze. Go on, he says. Try interacting with it. Izuku hesitates. Then, cautiously, he reaches out half expecting his fingers to pass through. But, as soon as he touches the glowing panel, the text shifts. A new screen flares into existence. Star Operator, welcome to the system. Congratulations, player. You have cleared in search of an heir and officially awakened the system. From this point forward, the system will guide you, offering quests, tracking your progress, and assisting your growth. Complete quests to earn XP and level up. Daily quests have been unlocked. Good luck, player. Star Operator. Izuku stares. It really calls me, player? Jinwoo snorts. Yeah. Get used to it. Izuku flicks his eyes back to the screen, his fingers trembling slightly as he navigates down to the next option. Player status. The moment he selects it, another window bursts into existence. Star Operator. Status window. Name, Midoriya Izuku. Level, 1. Class, none. Title, none. XP, 0-100. HP, 100-100. MP, 30-30. Fatigue, 75-100. Stats. Strength, 5. Agility, 6. Intelligence, 15. Vitality, 6. Perception, 9. Stamina, 3. Unused stat points, 0. Star Operator. Izuku SCKS in a breath. These are my stats? Jinwoo nods. Your base stats, yeah. Izuku's eyes dart over the screen, taking in every line of text. HP, MP, fatigue, stats. He doesn't know what he expected, but seeing actual numbers representing his physical and mental abilities is surreal. So, these numbers. What do they mean? Jinwoo folds his arms. They determine your abilities. Strength affects how hard you hit. Agility controls your speed and reflexes. Intelligence increases your MP and helps with skills. Vitality boosts HP and stamina. And perception, well, you'll see. Izuku nods slowly, absorbing the information. Jinwoo taps the screen. As you level up or complete quests, you'll earn stat points. You can assign them however you want. Izuku's heart jolts. I get to choose how I grow? Exactly, Jinwoo says. Your growth is in your hands. Izuku bites his lip. He's never had control like this before. His whole life, he's been at the mercy of his own limitations. But now, he can change. His fingers twitch. His whole body thrums with the realization. But then, something blinks at the bottom of the screen. Star Operator. Daily quest, preparations to become strong. Time remaining until start. 6 hours 49 minutes and 25 seconds. Star Operator. Izuku blinks. What's this? Jinwoo smirks. Your first quest. Izuku selects it, and the new window snaps open. Star Operator. Daily quest, preparations to become strong. The path to strength begins with DSPLN. Complete the following tasks. 10 push-ups, 0-10. 10 sit-ups, 0-10. 10 squats, 0-10. 1 kilometer run, 0-1 kilometer. Rewards. Stat points +1. Plus 50 XP. Random reward. Failure penalty. Added fatigue, real penalty unlocks at level 5. Star Operator. Izuku gawks at the screen. This is insane. How am I supposed to? He cuts off, his eyes catching on something. What does failure penalty mean? Jinwoo's smirk fades. Izuku doesn't miss the way his expression turns serious. It means, Jinwoo says, you really don't want to skip your dailies. Izuku's stomach tightens. Jinwoo looks him dead in the eye. For now, you are in tutorial mode. The system is harsh. It will reward you as you level up, but fail to meet its expectations and I have no clue what the penalty will be, but the system will make sure you regret it. That trial you went through? That was a watered-down version of my old punishment for failing my dailies. I have managed to tweak the system just enough to give you some reprise with the addition of tutorial levels, but if you fail to complete your daily quest, the system will punish you, one way or another. Izuku's blood runs cold. The trial had nearly killed him. And that had been easier than the punishment? He swallows thickly. So, if I don't do my quests, I get punished? Jinwoo nods. And you won't be able to escape whatever it is the system cooks up. Izuku shudders. Think of it as motivation, Jinwoo adds, his smirk returning. Izuku lets out a weak laugh. More like a death sentence. Jinwoo claps a hand on his shoulder. You'll get used to it. Do keep in mind that you have till midnight to complete this daily quest, every day. It will be hard at the start, but it will help you grow strong and you won't feel it after a while. Izuku sighs heavily, already dreading the workouts he'll have to do every single day. Jinwoo steps back. You'll also get random quests from time to time. They'll pop up as screens only you can see. Sometimes they'll be challenges, sometimes instructions. Completing them gives XP. Izuku perks up at that. So that's how I level up? Exactly, Jinwoo confirms. You earn XP from quests, from fights, dungeons. The system will notify you every time there is an opportunity. When you get enough, you level up, and your stats increase. Izuku glances back at the glowing text floating in front of him, level 1 emblazoned in bold, taunting letters. So, all he has to do is train, fight, and complete quests? And he'll get stronger? His pulse quickens. It's almost too good to be true. A lifetime of desperate dreaming, of scribbling down hero analysis notes, of breaking down the abilities of pro heroes from the sidelines, all of it felt so distant, so impossible. The doctors had said it. Kaken had said it. The entire world had said it. But now, standing in this strange, dimly lit chamber, blood still drying on his torn clothes, it's real. Jinwoo watches him carefully, then nods. It's a grind, but it works. His dark gaze sharpens. And it will make you strong. Izuku clenches his fists. Strong. He's spent his entire life chasing that word. And now, it's within reach. He swallows hard, then hesitantly asks, wait, you mentioned dungeons? What are dungeons? Jinwoo tilts his head, clearly expecting the question. Think of them as isolated combat zones. Dungeons that exist in their own space, separate from reality. He gestures vaguely. The system generates them, and only you can enter. Inside, you'll find monsters, traps, and rewards. Clear them, and you'll get stronger. Or at least, this is what they were in my world. Given there are no gates or dungeons in this world, I have no clue how and if the system will incorporate them. But I wanted to mention them, just in case you come across them. Izuku blinks rapidly. Wait, you mean like, real dungeons? Like the kind from RPGs? Jinwoo smirks slightly. Exactly. Real dungeons. Real monsters. The thought sends a shiver down his spine. He hesitates, absorbing this new information. And, what happens if I fail inside a dungeon? Jinwoo's smirk fades, his expression turning serious. Then you die. Izuku stiffens. There's no hesitation in Jinwoo's voice, no attempt to soften the truth. It's delivered flatly, with a weight that settles in Izuku's gut like a stone. He exhales shakily. Right. Of course. Because that's just how my life works now. Jinwoo watches him, unreadable, but there's something almost approving in his gaze. You'll get used to it. And you won't find dungeons everywhere. The world is not like that, here. Izuku isn't sure he wants to. But at the same time, he can't afford not to. Because the alternative? Staying weak? Remaining powerless? That's never been an option. Izuku takes a deep breath. This is real. This is happening. And for the first time in his life? He might actually have a chance. Izuku swallows, his mind spinning with everything he's learned. The weight of this new reality presses down on him, but beneath the anxiety, something else stirs anticipation. For the first time in his life, strength isn't just a dream. But then another thought hits him, and his hands tighten at his sides. So, what happens now? Jinwoo exhales, glancing toward the surrounding darkness. Now? You leave here. Go home. Izuku blinks. Just like that? Jinwoo nods. You've passed the trial. The system will return you to where you were before. He pauses, then adds, it's time for you to start leveling up. Izuku hesitates. Something about Jinwoo's tone, about the finality in it, sends a prickle of unease down his spine. You're not coming with me, are you? Jinwoo's expression is unreadable. His dark eyes, once filled with an intensity that seemed to burn straight through Izuku, now hold something softer. Understanding. No, he says simply. Izuku's stomach twists. But. Jinwoo lifts a hand, stopping him. This isn't my world anymore. His voice is calm, almost distant. I've been gone a long time, Midoriya. I'm just an imprint left behind, a shadow of who I was. The system uses me when necessary, but I'm not in control of it. His lips quirk slightly. Maybe it'll bring you back here someday, or maybe I will see you somewhere else. I don't know. Izuku stares at him, a strange mix of disappointment and nervousness churning in his gut. Jinwoo is the one person who understands this power, who can help him. The idea of stepping into this world alone is terrifying. What if I mess up? The words slip out before he can stop them. His hands tremble, fists clenched at his sides. What if I fail? He exhales sharply, shoulders stiff. I don't know what I'm doing. Jinwoo watches him for a long moment before he speaks. Then you keep going. Izuku stops. You will fail. You will struggle. You will be pushed to your limit, again and again. Jinwoo's voice is steady, unwavering. But that's how you grow. That's how you become strong. You fall, you stand up, and keep going. Izuku swallows, the lump in his throat refusing to go away. Jinwoo regards him carefully, then steps forward and rests a hand on his shoulder. His grip is firm, grounding. You don't need me, he says quietly. You never did. I am lucky, with a successor like you. Whatever you end up doing with my powers, I am sure you could have achieved it without them as well. Izuku's breath catches. For so long, he's needed someone. Someone to tell him he's not useless. That he has worth. That he can be something more. He never got that. Not from Kaken. Not from his teachers. Not even from his mother. But now, standing here, with Jinwoo looking him dead in the eye. Jinwoo believes in him. The chamber around them shifts. The air trembles, vibrating with unseen energy. Looks like it's time, Jinwoo says, stepping back. Izuku barely has time to react before the darkness pulls him under. There's a rush of motion weightlessness, and then crushing pressure. Like his body is being folded and stitched back into the world at the wrong angle. He gasps as light slams into his vision. His ears ring. His body feels too heavy, like gravity suddenly tripled. Every breath burns on the way out. And then. He's back. Voices. Sharp. Startled. Too loud. Izuku tries to blink, but the light stabs at his eyes. He registers blurred shapes moving toward him, hands grabbing at his arms, steadying him, lowering him. Someone get a medic. Kid, don't move. He's bleeding. What happened in there? Dimly, something flickers in the air above each voice. Floating windows. Blue text. System notifications. Profiles? Names and titles and glowing borders hover near every person who rushes toward him, but he can't focus enough to read them. The words blur, double, disappear when he blinks. He flinches. His hands twitch, wanting to swat the lights away. More footsteps. A new voice. Calm, steady. Midoriya Izuku? He looks up, barely processing the face that matches the sound. Black hair. A long coat. Serious, unreadable eyes. Another screen flickers near him, just out of focus. A name? A rank? The man continues, his voice gentle but firm. My name is Tsukachi. I'm with the police. Do you know where you've been for the past 5 hours? 5 hours? Izuku sways. He opens his mouth, but his voice catches in his throat. That can't be right. The trial had only been 1 hour long. And his talk before and after the trial with Jinwoo hadn't been that long, right? He catches flashes of blue and white again, more screens. Floating stats. Some kind of warning message pulses red at the edge of his vision, but his eyes can't seem to track the text. His voice cracks. Another voice cuts through the tension like a spotlight. Loud, but not unkind. Yo, little listener. It's familiar. Radio familiar. You're coated in blood. We gotta get you seen, stat. Izuku turns his head slow, dizzy, and sees a tall figure with spiky blonde hair and orange goggles. Present Mike. A pro hero. Another flicker. Another unreadable box. All these people around him are being labeled, categorized, like entries in some living catalog. He doesn't know how he knows that. He just does. He looks down at himself. Blood. Torn shirt. His side. He remembers the centipede. The pincers. But, he's not in pain. Not even sore. The potion. Jinwoo gave him one. He drunk it, right? Yes, and it had healed him. He hadn't paid too much attention to how he looked, as he'd been busy processing what Jinwoo was telling him. Did he really look that bad? I am fine, he whispers, trying to pull the ruined shirt together with shaking fingers. I swear, The world tilts. Everything hits at once: terror, exhaustion, noise. The system is still chiming somewhere in the back of his mind, announcing something about recovery and cooldowns, and it feels like he is falling down again. Strong hands steady him. Easy there, Present Mike says, his voice softer now. You're safe. Just let us help, yeah? Safe. He wants to believe that. He wants to ask Present Mike for his autograph, but he has trouble keeping his eyes open. The last thing Izuku sees as the blackness takes him is another unreadable line of text hovering above the hero's head, and the sense that something deeper has begun ticking beneath his skin. Sunlight spills through the narrow hospital window, casting a pale, sterile glow across the crisp white sheets tangled around Izuku's legs. He wakes slowly, blinking against the light. Everything hurts. Not in the sharp, panic-inducing way he expected, but a deep, leaden kind of exhaustion, like he's been wrung out and left to dry. His limbs ache. His mouth is dry. And for a long, strange second, he has no idea where he is. Then the smells hit him: disinfectant, rubbing alcohol, fresh linen, and the beeping of machines. A hospital. Izuku SCKS in a shaky breath, the memories from before rushing in all at once. The centipede. The shadows. Jinwoo. The system. The way that whole experience had felt realer than real. The weight of the dagger in his hand. The screech of the monster when it tried to kill him. He stares at the ceiling. His pulse flutters in his ears. He made it. Just barely. Before he can do more than sit up slightly, a faint chime sounds not in the room, but in his mind. A soft ding, like a notification on a phone that isn't there. A glowing screen appears at the edge of his vision. He flinches instinctively, but it doesn't go away. The words are blurry at first. He squints, and they sharpen, just enough to read. Star Operator, you did not complete your daily quest. No penalty dungeon triggered. Tutorial mode active. Fatigue temporarily increased. Star Operator, you've got to be kidding me, Izuku mumbles, voice hoarse. How long had H been asleep? Last he remembers, there had been a countdown before his daily quest would start? Did he sleep more than a day? His body sinks back into the bed, groaning as he does. The system's warning fades with a blink, but the dull weight of exhaustion lingers. Even without penalty, he can feel the difference. His muscles don't just ache, they drag. So this is what fatigue debuffs feel like. Somehow, the absurdity of it all makes him want to laugh. He fought for his life. He passed out. And the system still gave him a bad mark for not finishing his workout. He lets his head fall back against the pillow. The room spins slightly, but it's quiet. Safe. His thoughts drift, messy and slow, to everything that's changed. The stats. The quests. The idea that he has levels now. That he can grow stronger. Like a game but real. Painfully, bloodily real. And no one else knows. Not the nurses. Not the police. Not even the pro heroes who were there. The floating blue text, the panels, the voices in his head, it's all invisible to them. Tutorial mode, Jinwoo had said. That's where he is now. Still guided. Still protected. But eventually that will end. Some kind of grace period. A time to adjust. Which meant at some point, it would end and the training wheels would come off. And then what? He opens his eyes again, staring up at the blank ceiling tiles. His heart beats a little faster. The screen was just a warning. No punishment dungeon, not this time. But what about tomorrow? What if he gets tired? What if he's too injured to move? What happens when the system stops being gentle? Everything is still so new, the stats, the quests, even the idea of being able to fight. To grow stronger. It's overwhelming, in a way that hasn't entirely sunk in. Izuku exhales through his nose, eyes drifting toward the door. He's still in a hospital bed, wrapped in gauze and fatigue. The nurses would probably scold him if he even thought about running laps around the halls or doing push-ups beside the 4-pole. And yet, part of him itches to move. To earn the next quest. To keep going. To level up. Because something in him is awake now and it's not going back to sleep. He opens his menu and looks at his daily quest. Star Operator, daily quest, preparations to become strong. The path to strength begins with DSPLN. Complete the following tasks. 10 push-ups, 0-10. 10 sit-ups, 0-10. 10 squats, 0-10. 1 kilometer run, 0-1 kilometer. Rewards. Stat points +1. Plus 50 XP. Random reward. Failure penalty. Added fatigue, real penalty unlocks at level 5. Star Operator. He swings his legs over the side of the bed, grimacing as stiff muscles creak in protest. His body feels like it's been filled with lead, not pain exactly, but a dragging exhaustion that refuses to let go. Still, he's awake. And that's something. The hospital room is quiet, washed in pale morning light. It must be early. Too early for official visiting hours. No nurses, no clipboard shuffles, no polite check-ins. Just the hush of clean sheets and filtered air. He blinks the sleep out of his eyes and pulls up the screen again just to ground himself. Star Operator. Status window. Name, Midoriya Izuku. Level, 1. Class, none. Title, none. XP, 0-100. HP, 100-100. MP, 30-30. Fatigue, 85-100. Stats. Strength, 5. Agility, 6. Intelligence, 15. Vitality, 6. Perception, 9. Stamina, 3. Unused stat points, 0. Star Operator. Izuku frowns. Still no changes. No XP, no points gained. He hadn't fought anything. Just waited and failed. A quiet failure, sealed in his own tired skin. His eyes linger on fatigue, right. The system said that would happen. No penalty dungeon yet, thanks to the tutorial, but it still took a toll. His shoulders sag, and he drops the screen with a breath. He needs to get stronger. But how? How is he supposed to level up? Does he just push through daily quests and hope they're enough? How did Jinwoo get started? The door creaks open. He looks up expecting a nurse. But it's his mom. Izuku, his mom breathes, her voice cracking mid-word. She's holding a paper bag in one hand, and her other is already reaching for him. She crosses the room in 2 quick steps. The bag is set aside, forgotten. Her hands find his face. Her thumb brushes his cheek, like she needs to feel that he's solid, real, here. "Oh mom," he says, throat tight. She smiles, watery and trembling, and cups his face. "How are you feeling? Can you talk? Do you need anything?" He leans into her hand, warmth blooming faintly in his chest. "I'm okay. Still kind of tired. But I'm okay." Tears brim at the edges of her eyes, but she breathes out a soft, shaky laugh. "You've been asleep for over a day. The nurses said it wasn't serious, but when you didn't wake up, I just..." Her voice catches. "I thought I was going to lose you." "I'm sorry," Izuku whispers, guilt curling in his stomach like smoke. "I didn't mean to." His throat closes up. "I didn't know." Her hands tighten on his, and she sits down beside him, eyes searching his face. "What happened to you, Izuku? They said you disappeared in the museum, and when you came back you were covered in blood, but not injured. And then you collapsed and didn't wake up for more than 24 hours. He tries to find words, but how can he explain it? The obelisk, the shadows, Jinwoo, the dungeon, the centipedes, the system, the stats, the floating screens. The system hums gently at the edge of his senses. And then, just above his mother's head, a shimmer of translucent text appears. Star Operator, Midoriya Izuku. Loving mother. E rank. Star Operator. He swallows hard. Even people have screens now? It's not just him who has stats? Or, maybe this is just how the system sees people. E rank? He assumes that isn't very high. But it's real. It's strange, but somehow comforting too. Like this whole new world he's stepping into still recognizes the people who matter. Before he can study the floating message any longer, a polite knock sounds at the door. A middle-aged doctor with short-cropped hair and a crisp white coat steps into the room, clipboard tucked under one arm. He pauses when he sees Izuku awake, a small smile forming on his face. "Midoriya-san," he says, voice calm but alert. "Good to see you awake. I'm Dr. Okubo. I'd like to run a quick check, if that's all right. You've been asleep quite a while." Izuku nods, rubbing his eyes. "Yeah, that's fine." Another shimmer of light catches at the edge of his vision just above the doctor's head. Star Operator, Dr. Okubo Satoru. Hero, White Cross. Rank? Star Operator. The triple question marks send a subtle chill down his spine. Too high a level to read? Or is it because he doesn't know the doctor well enough? The system doesn't offer a hint. No tooltip, no clarification, just the name, the alias, and those 3 unnerving symbols. He'll have to test that later. And he'll have to try. And figure out what makes it show or hide information. Dr. Okubo moves with efficient precision, snapping on gloves and drawing a small penlight from his pocket. "Mind if I check your reflexes and pupil response? You've been asleep for over 36 hours, and I want to rule out anything neurological." Izuku nods again, obediently following the light with his eyes, then flinching slightly as the doctor taps at his knees and ankles. "Any nausea? Dizziness?" the doctor asks as he takes Izuku's pulse. "No. Just really tired." Izuku exhales slowly. "Kind of foggy." "That's not unexpected," Okubo replies, jotting a note on the clipboard. "Your scans came back clean, no signs of trauma or quirk interference. Blood work was normal. Honestly, from a physical standpoint, you look perfectly healthy." Inko shifts in the chair beside the bed, wringing her hands. "Then why did he sleep so long? Was it shock? A delayed reaction?" "It's possible," Dr. Okubo says, glancing between them. "Sleep is the body's way of recovering from all kinds of stress, physical, mental, emotional. Midoriya-san was reported missing, then reappeared and collapsed. Even without visible injuries, that kind of episode could be taxing. Especially for someone your age." Izuku nods again, lips pressed into a thin line. He doesn't mention the dungeon. Or the centipedes. Or the shadow. Or Jinwoo. Instead, he offers a quiet, "I don't really remember what happened. Just, a lot of noise. Then I woke up here." The lie sits heavy on his tongue, but the doctor just hums and doesn't press. Memory gaps are common in traumatic events. And while you didn't look hurt when you came in, the amount of blood you were covered in indicates that something did happen. "We'll keep you under observation for a little longer. Take your vitals again in a few hours. If everything still looks stable, we'll talk about discharge this evening." Inko exhales slowly, visibly relieved. "Thank you, doctor." She bows slightly, and the doctor offers a small nod in return. If you notice anything unusual, hallucinations, muscle weakness, sensory distortions, call for the nurse right away. Got it, Izuku says. As Dr. Okubo turns to leave, Izuku's eyes flick briefly toward the fading system text above his head. White Cross, he thinks. A pro-hero turned doctor? Or maybe a support Quirk user working in medicine? The triple question marks shimmer once more before vanishing entirely. The room settles into a fragile calm after Dr. Okubo leaves. The soft hum of hospital machines fills the silence, broken only by the faint rustle of sheets as Izuku shifts. His mom squeezes his hand, her thumb brushing gently across his knuckles, and for a moment he lets himself breathe, just breathe. The worst feels like it's past. He's alive, awake, and home is just one step closer. A knock comes at the door. Mom straightens in her chair, startled, just as it slides open. Midoriya Izuku? Both he and Inko turn. Two men step inside his room. The first is a man in a neat police uniform, calm but attentive, his badge glinting in the light. His face is familiar from somewhere? The policeman from the museum? Beside him is a taller man with tan fur, pointed ears, and sharp golden eyes, a humanoid feline? Human with a cat-like quirk? Before Izuku can say anything, the translucent text appears above their head. Star Operator, Tsukachi Naomasa. The lie-detecting detective. Rank? Star Operator, Tamagawa Sansa. The watchful cat. Rank? Star Operator. Izuku's chest tightens at the sight of the ranks, same as the doctor before, and the titles spark cautious thoughts in his mind. Lie-detecting detective? What kind of quirk would that be? Could he really tell when someone was lying? What if the person in question is convinced they're telling the truth, but have been misinformed? What about lying by omission? That would make it impossible to hide anything from him, especially if he suspects something unusual. Did Izuku give anything away yesterday? He had been pretty out of it. He can't even recall if he saw the same notifications when he first met the man. And the other man? The watchful cat. Izuku's eyes flicker toward the tall feline officer. Was that title literal? Enhanced senses, maybe vision, hearing, smell? The sharpness in those golden eyes makes his skin prickle. Cats notice everything, don't they? If Tsukachi can catch lies, then Tamagawa might catch the smallest slip in his body language? A twitch, a hesitation, anything out of place. Or is he overthinking this? It is strange though, for the system to focus on and name the man Cat. He clearly is human with a cat-like quirk? More human than cat, if his police uniform is any indication. Together, these two of them seemed like the worst possible pair to try and keep secrets around. Izuku swallows. Just his luck. He can't exactly tell the truth about what happened. No one around him seems to react to the system notification windows, so he can only assume he is the only one that can see them? So, he has no proof except his word that anything he could tell would be true. He has no proof whatsoever of meeting Jinwoo or the shadows or the centipedes. Plus, he kind of wants to both keep this to himself for now because this is Ho's power. He earned it, and he wants to take his time to figure them out. And also, he doesn't want to give his mother a heart attack. The suited man nods at Izuku. Midoriya Izuku, correct? His voice is professional, but not unkind. I'm Detective Tsukachi Naomasa, and this is Officer Sansa Tamagawa. We met earlier, at the museum, though I understand if you don't remember. We're here to ask you a few questions about what happened yesterday. This could be a problem. He had expected this. He had hoped to have more time though, before people started asking questions. Still, his mind races for the best way to respond. Oh my, Inko says, her voice perfectly polite, but there's a sharpness to it that makes Izuku glance at her. My son just woke up, and he's been through a terrible ordeal. Surely this can wait until he's had more time to rest. Tsukachi nods in understanding. I promise we won't take too much of his time, ma'am. We just need to clarify a few things. Izuku shifts again, trying to look as harmless as possible. What do you want to know? Tsukachi's gaze is steady, but not unkind. You disappeared for nearly 5 hours after touching the obelisk at the museum. The guide on duty said it started glowing right before you vanished. Then, just as suddenly, you reappeared. Covered in blood, but with no visible injuries. Can you tell us what happened? Izuku forces himself to look uncertain, rubbing the back of his neck. I don't really know. One moment I was in the museum, and then, he hesitates, furrowing his brows as if struggling to recall. I was somewhere else. I think. It was dark, and I felt like I was running forever. Then, suddenly, I was back. Sansa's ears flick, and his tail gives an idle swish. You were covered in blood, he points out. Izuku winces. Yeah, I don't really. I think I am still feeling a bit overwhelmed. It is all a blur. But I swear, I wasn't hurt. When I came back, I felt fine. Izuku tries to keep as much to the truth as he can, while keeping as much details to himself as he can, not sure how the detective's quirk works. He wants to avoid giving his mother a heart attack. Tsukachi hums thoughtfully, watching him a little too closely, but he doesn't give anything away. You felt fine, even though you looked like you had been through a battle? Inko places a gentle hand on Izuku's arm. Detective, I understand you have a job to do, but my son has clearly been through something terrifying. Perhaps he needs time to process what happened before giving a clearer statement. Tsukachi considers her words, his eyes narrowing almost imperceptibly before he schools his expression. He nods slowly, measured, as though weighing something invisible on a scale. That's fair. But Midoriya-kun, if anything else comes back to you, please let us know. Something unusual happened to you with that obelisk, and it would help you out as well if we can gain some sort of understanding as to what happened. Izuku nods quickly, a little too eager. Of course. If I remember anything else, I'll tell you. For a heartbeat, silence stretches. Then Tsukachi smiles, but it doesn't quite reach his eyes. The corners of his mouth twitch upward, polite and pleasant, but something about it feels strained. Not unfriendly, but careful. I will give you both my card. Feel free to contact me if you remember anything else. He slips a simple business card from his coat and hands it over with professional neatness. Izuku takes it with clammy fingers, heart thudding. Did he? No. He couldn't have caught a lie, because Izuku hadn't lied. Right? He hadn't. But maybe omission counts? Maybe saying, I'll tell you, without specifying everything isn't the same as honesty? What if the detective's quirk doesn't just detect outright lies, but doubts, hesitations, tiny fractures in truth? His brain runs faster than his pulse, words he doesn't dare say tripping over each other in his head. Was that smile just polite? Or was it hiding disappointment, or suspicion, or worse confirmation? Izuku clutches the card like a lifeline and swallows hard, forcing himself to nod again, hoping his face doesn't betray the storm inside his chest. And then his stomach gives a small jolt as his eyes catch on the tall, silent figure in the corner. Tamagawa Sansa. He'd forgotten the cat-like officer was even in the room. Golden eyes watch him steadily, unreadable, as if he'd been gauging every twitch and stammer from the very beginning. Izuku quickly looks away, his throat tight. Together, the two of them feel like a trap with no exits. Inko glances at Izuku, concern clear in her eyes. The obelisk. Is it dangerous? Tsukachi nods slowly. We don't know much despite it being very old. People still study it though, and given what happened, they are asking question. We have to assume it can be dangerous as your son disappeared for hours and came back covered in blood. He's the only one it's reacted to. That's why we need to understand his experience better. Izuku swallows hard, feeling the weight of his secret like a stone pressing down on his chest. He can't tell this man anything, he barely understands it himself. A quirkless kid suddenly with powers? Nobody would believe it. And he has nothing visible to prove it with yet. Whenever you're ready, just reach out. It would help a lot. The man continues saying. Shortly after, the two policemen take their leave as the sky outside becomes dark. Izuku, his mother's hand squeezes his, grounding him. She looks pale, worn thin by worry, but her smile softens when his eyes meet hers. I'll come back first thing in the morning, okay? Visiting hours are ending, and you need to rest. It's been a long day. His chest tightens. He wants to tell her to stay. But he nods instead, forcing a small smile. Okay, Mom. Thanks, for being here. She leans down and hugs him gently, brushing a hand through his hair like she used to when he was little. You scared me so much, she whispers, before pulling away with a brave smile. Sleep well. I'll be back as soon as visiting hours allow for tomorrow morning, alright? The door shuts behind her, and for the first time since waking, Izuku is truly alone. The room feels emptier once the door clicks shut behind his mother. Finally alone, it might be good to try and get started on that daily quest? What were his objectives again? He can't recall in detail. He should check it out. How does he call upon the system? Until now, the notifications have come when needed, but he hasn't fully consciously called upon it himself just yet. Tentatively, he thinks, menu? The response is instant. A soft chime hums in the air, and his breath hitches as glowing text unfurls in front of him. Four neat tabs line up in his vision: status, inventory, quests, skills. Izuku sits bolt upright. I didn't even say it out loud, he whispers. Just the thought alone had been enough. Good. If he tries this outside, or in public, he will look less like a lunatic. Hard hammering, he focuses on one of the words inventory. The tab pulses, and suddenly a grid of boxes fills the space. It is completely empty. For now, because his mind is already racing with possibilities. He can store his notebooks in there. No more danger of Kachin damaging them. And his backpack is school books. If he manages to store those in there, that could be so handy. A grin tugs at his mouth despite the nerves. He opens his daily quest. Star Operator. Daily quest, preparations to become strong. The path to strength begins with DSPLN. Complete the following tasks. 10 push-ups, 0-10. 10 sit-ups, 0-10. 10 squats, 0-10. 1 kilometer run, 0-1 kilometer. Rewards. Stat points +1. Plus 50 XP. Random reward. Failure penalty. Added fatigue, real penalty unlocks at level 5. Star Operator. Izuku groaned softly, dragging his hands down his face. Right. Those amounts look more impressive now. When he is on the verge of attempting to clear them. He barely survived the push-ups? He isn't sure he ever did even one. Still, if this is what the system considers tutorial mode, he needs to keep up. Because how much worse will this be later on, if this is easy mode? The fatigue keeps piling up as well, getting worse every day, and so, even if he can't complete it yet, he wants to start making progress. With a quiet sigh, he swings his legs off the bed. His body protests the motion, every muscle stiff and sluggish like he's been stuffed full of sand. The room is dim, shadows stretching long across the linoleum floor, the only sound the soft hum of the machines. Okay. Just 10 push-ups. Easy. Right? Easy. He lowers himself onto the cold tile, palms slick against it. His arms tremble before he even gets into position. He holds his breath and lowers down. His whole body shakes in protest for a few moments and then it gives up and collapses. His chest hits the floor with a dull thump. One, he mutters into the tile, face burning. It takes him 3 tries to push himself back up. His arms quiver violently, breath rasping out, but he forces another attempt. He barely lowers halfway before his strength fails again. 1. That has to count as 1, right? Just as he gathers his courage to try a second time, the door swings open. Midoriya-kun? His head jerks up, panic spiking through his chest. A nurse stands frozen in the doorway, tray of supplies clutched to her chest. Her eyes go wide as she takes in the sight of him sprawled on the floor. "What on earth are you doing?" she exclaims, rushing forward. She sets the tray down with a clatter and kneels beside him, her expression swinging between disbelief and frustration. Izuku tries to scramble upright, cheeks blazing. I was just nearly giving yourself a heart attack," she snaps, cutting him off. "You collapsed in public recently, and now you're sneaking out of bed to do push-ups in the dark? Are you trying to make my job harder?" Izuku flinches, guilt knotting in his stomach. "I just thought some light exercise." Light exercise is stretching, not collapsing on the floor like a deflated balloon. Her voice is sharp, but her hands hover near his arm like she half expects him to keel over again. "Back in bed. Now. Before I have to call Dr. Okubo to give you a lecture." The thought alone makes his ears go red. "Oh, okay. I'll go back." He crawls awkwardly back onto the bed, limbs shaking from the little he managed. The nurse huffs, tugging the blanket back over him with brisk movements. "Honestly, boys your age. Always thinking you can push yourselves past your limits. You're not all might, Midoriya-kun. You're a patient. So stay put." She gives him one last stern look before gathering her tray again and muttering under her breath as she leaves, the door clicking shut behind her. Izuku lies back, staring up at the ceiling, shame curling hot in his chest. The quest doesn't care if he's in a hospital. If he fails again, it will be a never-ending cycle of exhaustion. The next morning comes far too quickly. Izuku blinks blearily up at the hospital ceiling, every bone in his body aching. His limbs feel heavy, like he spent the night dragging weights through mud. System fatigue penalty? The words echo bitterly in his head. He didn't even make any decent progress yesterday for his daily quest before the nurse caught him. The daily quest failure notification hangs in the air before him, sharp and accusing. The door creaks open. "Izuku?" He forces his eyes to focus. His mom stands there, clutching a paper bag to her chest, eyes soft but worried. She moves quickly to his side, setting the bag on the nightstand. "I brought you breakfast. Something better than hospital food," she says, trying for cheer, but her gaze flickers over his pale face and tired eyes. She smooths his hair back like she did when he was a child. "Oh, sweetie, you don't look like you rested at all." Izuku swallows, trying to give her a smile. "I slept fine, Mom." "Really?" Her eyes narrow with that maternal sharpness that sees right through him, but before she can press, a knock sounds. Dr. Okubo steps into the room, clipboard in hand. His white coat is crisp, his presence calm and professional. "Midoriya-san." "Midoriya-kun." He gives a polite nod. "I wanted to go over your results one last time before you get discharged." As he speaks, translucent text flickers into Izuku's vision once more. Star Operator, Dr. Okubo Satoru. Hero, White Cross. Rank? Star Operator. The same triple question marks. The same frustrating mystery. Izuku's chest tightens. Dr. Okubo flips through the chart. Your scans show nothing abnormal. Blood work came back clean, and all your other tests are also within normal range. All signs point to severe exhaustion, probably from overwork or stress. His gaze lingers for a beat on Izuku's face, like he doesn't fully buy it. That said, I recommend taking it easy for the next week. No strenuous activity. Izuku feels heat creep up the back of his neck, remembering last night's failed push-ups. He ducks his head. Why yes, sir. The doctor gives a faint hum, then turns to Inko. Provided nothing changes in the next few hours, I'll sign his discharge papers. He'll be free to go home this afternoon. Inko exhales in visible relief, hands clasped together. Thank you so much, doctor. Truly. Dr. Okubo inclines his head again. Take care, Midoriya-kun. And listen to your mother. Rest. Don't make me see you back here too soon. With that, he exits, leaving the room quiet except for the hum of the machines. Inko squeezes Izuku's hand, eyes shining with tears. She tries to blink away. See? You're coming home. Everything will be alright now. Izuku musters another tired smile for her sake, though inside his chest, unease coils tight. If the system keeps penalizing him, if he can't keep up with this daily quest, he'll be in trouble in the long run. And to be very honest, it is not a very encouraging start to getting new powers in anyway. But he only nods, because right now, she needs the reassurance more than he does. Outside, the city hums with life. Cars sweep past, horns blaring, and voices rise and fall in conversation as people hurry along the sidewalks. Izuku breathes it in deeply, the air tasting sharper after a few days of sterile hospital rooms. His fingers clutch the discharge papers and the small card with his follow-up appointment almost too tightly, like if he lets go, the fragile sense of freedom might slip away. He's out. He's walking the streets again, no more bed rest, no nurse watching him like, or when, he's about to collapse. Just a boy and his mom, moving through the city like nothing had happened. As they reach the subway entrance, a few fat drops of water begin to fall from the sky, cool and sudden. We should hurry, before it really starts raining. Mom says as she glances up at the dark sky. They pick up their pace, weaving through the thinning crowd as umbrellas bloom like flowers around them. The rumble of thunder rolls faintly overhead. Just as the rain starts falling down in earnest, they reach the platform. The train slides into the station with a soft hiss, brakes squealing, doors opening in a practiced rhythm. They slip inside, shaking the cool droplets from their clothes as the doors close behind them. Izuku leans against the window, watching the rain blur neon lights into streaks of color, droplets racing each other down the glass like tiny contestants in some invisible game. His chest rises and falls quickly, catching his breath from their brisk walk. The muscles in his arms and legs ache, not just from the rush to the station but from the lingering punishment of a quest he failed 2 days in a row. Still, he can't stop the smile tugging at his lips. A few days ago, he was nothing but a quirkless kid who'd been told again and again that his dream was impossible. And now there's this. A strange, impossible system only he can see. Daily quests, stat windows, levels. A chance. His chance. By the time they reach home, fatigue settles deeper into his body, a dull, heavy reminder that he hasn't completed any of his daily quests since he got the system. His muscles tremble faintly as he climbs the steps to their apartment, his mother's worried hand steadying him. But the thought thrums louder than the ache. He actually has a shot now. He can really do this. He can train, and grow stronger. He can become a hero. The idea feels so unreal it makes his chest tighten, like he's afraid he'll wake up back the day before his class trip find it gone. He sets his jaw, determination hardening inside him, and heads straight to his room to finally tackle today's tasks. He drops down for push-ups first, lowering himself with shaky arms. He barely manages to complete one as his muscles already scream in protest. His arms tremble uncontrollably, sweat prickling his forehead. He collapses onto the floor, chest heaving, frustration bubbling beneath his skin. He keeps going, as best as he can. If he really wants to be a hero system or not, he's going to have to get serious about this. He can't keep relying on luck or raw willpower. Glancing at his stats, fatigue still high, strength low, he realizes the system demands more than just effort, it requires real progress, real growth. And that means hard work. Starting now. He pulls up the screen of his daily quests, so he can see his progress as he tries to complete the goals. Star Operator. 10 push-ups, 3 10. 10 sit-ups, 0 10. 10 squats, 0 10. 1 kilometer run, 0.21 kilometer. Star operator. He blinks, confused. He doesn't remember running. Though, maybe when they hurried to catch the train? That little bit must have counted. His mind drifts back to the moment in question, the rain starting to fall just as they sprinted into the subway station. It wasn't much, but it was movement and the system noticed. He shakes his head and focuses back on the list. He has enough to try and get done for his dailies for now. He should focus on that first. He's going to have to push through the fatigue. No more slacking. The smell of miso soup and freshly steamed rice drifts through the apartment, coaxing Izuku out of bed with a mix of hunger and aching limbs. He groans as he sits up, his muscles still protesting every slight movement after yesterday's push-ups. His arms, shoulders, and even his thighs feel tight, sore, and exhausted. So this is what it means to actually use his body. He had managed to complete most of his daily quest yesterday, even if it had taken hours. Only the run he had been unable to complete, as his mother had refused to let him go outside. She had been rather cross that he had been working out in his room, so she hadn't let him go outside to go run as well. He drags himself through his morning routine, teeth brushed, hair flattened somewhat, clothes wrinkled but passable. The soreness in his body is a reminder of how far he has to go, but also of something new, progress. As he walks into the kitchen, Mom is already bustling at the stove, setting bowls of rice and soup on the table. Her movements are calm but deliberate, soothing in their normalcy. "Morning," Izuku says as he sits down. "Good morning, sweetie." She offers him a small smile, though her eyes sweep over him with faint worry. "Still sore?" "Yeah," he admits, "but I think that's normal." Mom smiles softly. "You just got out of the hospital, after all. And today is your first day back at school, so don't push yourself too hard, all right?" Izuku nods, already lifting his spoon when his mom hums, half to herself. "I'll make you favorite meal tonight, to celebrate you being home. Though, I'll have to go shopping later? We're running low on a few things." Ding! A now familiar translucent screen flashes across Izuku's vision, catching him mid-bite. Star operator. New quest, side quest, grocery hero. Your mom's keeping this household running time to help her out. Objective, pick up groceries after school. Reward, plus 20 XP, plus 1 random consumable, increased affection with Mom Midoriya. Shopping list. Rice, eggs, tofu, milk, green onions. Pain relief patches, for Izuku Redheart. Star operator. Izuku blinks as the quest settles in the corner of his vision, quiet and almost gentle. "Hey," he says, glancing up from his soup. "I could go to the store after school. Get the stuff for you." Mom blinks, clearly caught off guard. "Oh, Izuku, that's sweet, but, are you sure you're feeling up to it? I don't want you overdoing it." "I'm sure," he says with quiet determination. "It's not that far, and I'll need to get used to moving around again anyway. I don't want to fall behind at school." She hesitates, lips pursing. "All right. But nothing heavy. If they don't have the smaller rice bags, leave it." "I will," he promises. Star operator. Side quest, grocery hero, accepted. Status, pending, complete after school. Star operator. He isn't sure why the system made something simple like groceries a quest, but it sure helps motivate him to get it done. He finishes his breakfast and runs on the way to school to try and get an early start at clearing his dailies. Izuku's legs ache before he even reaches the school gate. His backpack feels twice as heavy, and the faint soreness in his arms from yesterday's 2 pitiful push-ups hasn't faded in the slightest. Every step reminds him how far behind he is. Physically, emotionally, socially, he's grinding life on hard mode with 0 upgrades. Still, he hopes the pain he is enduring right now will be rewarding in the long run. Star operator. New quest, attend classes for the day. Skipping, hiding, or going home early will result in failure. Reward, plus 15 XP. Star operator. Great. A quest about going to school and attending classes? Aldera Middle looks just like it always does. The students look the same too, moving in noisy clusters, laughing in circles that never included him. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead. The floor still squeaks in places. It's familiar, and suffocating. Izuku adjusts his backpack strap, ducking his head as he moves down the corridor. Yes, despite having an inventory which he tested and is storing his notebooks inside, he decided to keep carrying his backpack with his schoolbooks inside. Just so no one would bother him about suddenly having a quirk or something. Anything to make sure they have no new reasons to bother him. His classmates have already started to filter in, but their happy chatter fades when they catch sight of him. Isn't that the kid from the news? He disappeared right in front of everyone, freaky. The teachers said he touched that obelisk thing. Maybe it tried to kill him because he doesn't have a quirk. Bet he wanted to get powers. Quirkless kids always try something desperate. Or maybe the obelisk cursed him. You saw his mom crying on TV, right? If he came back once, what if he disappears again? Right in class? He shouldn't have come back. Izuku keeps walking. He wants to stop and tell them what really happened. That he saw someone. That something inside him changed. But the words won't come. And even if they did, who would believe him? He reaches the classroom door, hesitating. Izuku sighs and pushes the door open. Silence greets him for a beat too long. Then, "Yo, Deku's alive? TCH. What's he doing back?" He walks quietly to his seat. He doesn't make eye contact. He doesn't need to. The room's hostility is the same as always, constant, ambient. Just like the system's floating notifications, except less helpful. Just walks to his seat. And then he feels that presence. The one that's haunted him since they were kids. Heavy. Familiar. Burning. But one presence stands out more than the rest. Louder, even without saying a word. Katsuki Kaken leans back in his chair, arms sprawled like he owns the place. His red eyes track Izuku the moment he steps in, unreadable. Izuku swallows. The system flares to life without warning. Star Operator. Bakugo Katsuki. The Rising Tempest. D rank. Star Operator. Izuku shudders. The D rank glares at him in his mind's eye like a warning. The letters pulse like a siren, glaring at him with the weight of a verdict. His throat goes dry. A whole rank higher than his mother, whose quirk can be very volatile if used with bot of creativity. Compared to her, Bakugo radiated raw, unshakable power. And compared to him? Izuku's stomach twists. His fists clench at his sides, but the tremor running through them betrays him. He didn't need the system to tell him what he already knew. Kaken was out of his league. His presence was like a storm bearing down on him, a tempest just waiting to tear through anything in its path. Definitely stronger than him. No doubt about that. Though, he wonders briefly why only Kachen gets a pop-up and not his other classmates? Kachen's lips twitch into something like a smirk, like he knows why Izuku flinched, even if he doesn't show it. Still breathing, huh, Deku? Kaken drawls lazily. Guess that freak rock didn't kill you after all. Izuku doesn't respond. He just sets his bag down and sits quietly. The system doesn't offer him a quest to fight back, and honestly, he wouldn't win that one right now. And he is too tired to try and talk back. His shoulders tense, waiting for the usual shove, spark, insult something. But none comes. Not yet, anyway. Kaken just stares at him for a long moment. Then snorts, turns away, and mutters, "Whatever. You're still useless." Izuku's fingers tighten around the edge of his desk. He wants to say something. He's not useless, not anymore. He has the system. He has quests. He has potential. But his strength stat is still low. His body still aches after 10 push-ups. And standing up to Kaken now would only mean limping home later. So he stays quiet. The day drags. Teachers lecture. Students ignore them. Kaken gets called on 3 times and answers every question perfectly without even trying. When he gets annoyed with someone, there's a quiet hiss of threat, a sudden spark in his palm, just enough to make the other kid back down. Not enough to get in trouble. Izuku watches him with quiet resentment and awe. Kaken's strong, confident, respected. Feared, not sure if he is envious of that last one or... And Izuku can barely do a few push-ups. The worst part is how normal everything feels, like he didn't step into some impossible dungeon and meet a man who offered him everything he ever wanted. Like he didn't earn a potential power-up by running, not from bullies this time, but from centipedes bigger than some buildings who wanted to eat him and survived, if only barely. But nothing's changed, not really. He's still the invisible nobody in the back row. By the time gym class rolls around, his legs feel like noodles. His arms still haven't recovered from yesterday's attempt at push-ups. He doesn't complain. Just runs. Slowly. Always last. But he finishes. Even when his vision blurs from heat. Even when Kaken jogs past him with a snort. Even when the teacher looks like he's surprised, disappointed. Izuku didn't pass out. It's miserable, but at least it's real. He's doing something. The final bell feels like a blessing. Students spill into the hall like freed prisoners, chatting about video games, lunch plans, or upcoming entrance exams. Izuku lingers near the shoe lockers just long enough to avoid another accidental shove. He changes his shoes carefully and heads out into the gray afternoon light. He's halfway down the block when the system pings again. Star Operator. Quest completed. A student's first step taken. Attend classes for the day. Completed. Plus 15 XP earned. Star Operator. The notification floats gently in his vision. Izuku stares at it, then breathes in slow through his nose. His first XP points. Even if he gained them for a simple quest like going to class, this is exciting. Even if he can't bring up the energy to be properly excited for it. Right now, all he wants is to get home without passing out in the street. But, he can't. He still has the rest of his dailies to do. He managed to knock off the running part during PE, which is grat, and he has to grab the groceries for mom on his way home. His legs ache with every step, the strain from gym class, sitting through lessons, and surviving the day weighing him down like sandbags. His backpack feels twice as heavy now. But the system's glowing prompt hovers patiently in the corner of his vision, a soft reminder. Star Operator. Quest, Grocery Hero. Objective, pick up groceries after school. Reward, plus 20 XP, plus 1 random consumable, increased affection with Mom Midoriya. Underneath, the checklist glows in crisp, teasing text. Rice, eggs, tofu, milk, green onions. Pain relief patches, for Izuku Redheart. Star Operator. He huffs quietly, shifting his grip on his bag. Alright, he mutters to himself, adjusting his course toward the neighborhood grocery store. The walk isn't long, but it feels long when you're dragging your feet. The grocery store's front door chimes as he pushes inside, the cool air washing over him like mercy from above. His arms are sore, his back stiff, but he grabs a basket and moves through the aisles with quiet determination. Rice is heavy, but he finds a bag small enough to manage. It goes into the basket with a thunk. The other ingredients are easy enough to locate. Then he nearly forgets the pain relief patches and has to backtrack 2 aisles. They're tucked on a lower shelf near the pharmacy section. He grabs the cheapest kind and tosses them in. As he walks toward the register, the screen shimmers. Star Operator. Progress, Grocery Hero. Ballot box with check rice. Ballot box with check eggs. Ballot box with check tofu. Ballot box with check milk. Ballot box with check green onions. Ballot box with check pain relief patches. Quest complete. Plus 20 XP. Plus 1 random consumable, minor healing salve. Mom Midoriya affection plus 5. Star Operator. Izuku lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Another quest down. More XP gained, which is exciting after. He fumbles through payment using the emergency grocery money his mom left him with earlier and bundles the items into a couple of plastic bags. He waits till he is outside and out of view of people before putting the groceries and his school bag in his inventory. That at least, will help him as he makes his way home. By the time he makes it home, the sun is dipping lower in the sky, casting long orange shadows across the apartment building. He drags the bags to the door, unlocking it with the practiced twist of his wrist. "Mom, I'm home," he calls, voice a little hoarse. "Welcome back." "I'm in the kitchen," she answers brightly. He kicks off his shoes and pads inside. Taking the bags out of his inventory again, he drops them carefully on the kitchen counter. "I got everything," he says, lifting out the items and setting them in a row like proof. Mom peers over from the stove. Her eyes widen slightly. "You stopped at the store? After school?" He nods, trying not to wince as he stretches out his aching back. "I said I would, didn't I, duh?" For a moment, she just looks at him. Then a warm smile spreads across her face. She walks over, tousles his hair with one hand, and gently says, "Thank you, Izuku. This really helped." Star Operator. Buff applied, Mom's gratitude. Meals prepared by Mom restore plus 10% more HP and reduce fatigue faster. Duration, 2 hours. Star Operator. That is, Kindoff overpowered? Maybe? He is unsure, but it feels like it could be overpowered. Does the system judge his mother's cooking to be that good? Or is it their bond it is taking into account? Or both? "I'll make dinner. You go sit down and rest," she says, already unpacking. He nods and slinks off to his room, the healing salve blinking in his inventory like a gift from the heavens. He doesn't use it yet, but knowing he has it makes everything feel a little less painful. He sinks onto his mattress, eyes heavy, stomach growling faintly at the smell of miso and green onions drifting from the kitchen. Even with sore arms and burning legs, there's a lightness in his chest. 2 quests down. Progress made. He's still weak, but he's getting stronger. And for the first time in a long while, it feels like it matters. Izuku lies back on his bed, staring at the ceiling as warmth from the kitchen fills the air. His muscles ache from the day, and he knows tomorrow's not going to be any easier. The system's chime still lingers faintly in his mind, the sound of progress. He pulls up his status window, the familiar translucent screen appearing with a flicker. Star Operator. Status, Izuku Midoriya. Name, Midoriya Izuku. Level, 1. Class, None. Title, None. XP, 35,100. HP 100-100. MP 30-30. Fatigue 95-100. Stats. Strength 5. Agility 6. Intelligence 15. Vitality 6. Perception 9. Stamina 3. Unused stat points 0. Star Operator. He winces at the fatigue bar. No wonder he feels like a walking corpse. His fingers swipe over to his inventory, and he selects the healing salve, a small digital pop-up explaining its function. Star Operator. Minor healing salve. Heals minor wounds and reduces fatigue. One-time use. Would you like to use this item? Yes, no. Star Operator. He hesitates. It feels a little silly to use a healing item on sore muscles, but then again, he earned this. And if he wants to finish his dailies before bed, he needs the help. Star Operator. Yes. Star Operator. A soft warmth spreads through him, like icy hot balm flowing through his bloodstream. The soreness in his limbs eases slightly, and his breathing evens out. The ache doesn't vanish entirely, but it dulls, just enough that he can sit up again without groaning. Star Operator. Effect applied, fatigue -15. Current fatigue, 75-100. Star Operator. Not great. But better. With a deep breath, Izuku gets back onto the floor. The system's daily quest glows softly before him. Star Operator. Daily quest, unlocked potential. Push-ups, 0-10. Sit-ups, 0-10. Squats, 0-10. 1 kilometer run, 1 kilometer, white heavy checkmark. Star Operator. The run's already done from his exercise in PE and his walk to school this morning. But he still has other objectives to complete. He grits his teeth and gets into position. Push-ups first. It still hurts. His arms still tremble. But with time and great struggle, he finishes the set. By the 10th push-up, he collapses onto his back. Panting. But a new line glows softly. Star Operator. Push-ups, 10-10, white heavy checkmark. Star Operator. He smiles, just a little, and takes a 10-minute break to regain his breath. Then he rolls over, sits up, and starts the next exercise. Sit-ups. Then squats. It's hard. His body screams in protest. But somewhere between the burning muscles and the pounding heartbeat, something settles in his chest, a sense of purpose. Of forward motion. He's halfway through squats when he hears his mom's voice from the kitchen. Izuku, dinner's ready. He groans softly, pushing through the last few reps. Star Operator. Sit-ups, 10-10, white heavy checkmark. Squats, 10-10, white heavy checkmark. Star Operator. He wipes sweat from his face with his sleeve, chest heaving, and the tiniest smile tugging at his lips. Progress. Slow. Painful. Earned. But real. Star Operator. Daily quest complete. Heavy checkmark push-ups, 10-10, white heavy checkmark. Heavy checkmark sit-ups, 10-10, white heavy checkmark. Heavy checkmark squats, 10-10, white heavy checkmark. Heavy checkmark 1 kilometer run, 1.01 kilometer, white heavy checkmark. Reward. Plus 50 XP. Plus 1 stat point. Plus 1 random consumable. Would you like to distribute your stat point now? Yes, later. Star Operator. Izuku blinks up at the screen, still catching his breath. A slow smile spreads across his face. He did it. Despite everything, the fatigue, the bruises, the long school day, he finished his daily quest. Coming, he calls hoarsely toward the kitchen, voice cracking just a little. He taps later on the stat window, saving it for after dinner. Another notification pops up. Star Operator. Consumable acquired, bitter green tea can. Restores 20 fatigue. Leaves an aftertaste of crushed hopes. Star Operator. He snorts under his breath. Fitting. With effort, he gets to his feet, dragging a clean shirt over his head and shuffling out into the hallway. The scent of simmering katsudon pulls him in like a lifeline. The kitchen is warm, homey, a stark contrast to the mental grind of the day. Mom stands by the stove, plating the last of the food. She turns as he enters. There you are, sweetheart, she says with a soft smile. I was about to come check on you. Izuku manages a tired grin and sinks onto a floor cushion at the low table. Just finishing up some stuff. You look even more tired than yesterday, and that is saying something. Mom speaks up, a frown marring her face as she sets his plate in front of him. I can hear you up and about in your room. You just got out of the hospital, Izuku, please don't push yourself. Izuku shifts in his seat, eyes fixed on his plate. I just don't want to waste any more time. If I want to have a chance at getting into UA, I need to start taking things seriously. I've only been doing some light exercise to start, but even if it's hard, I have to keep at it. Mom pauses, her brows knitting together with gentle concern and skepticism. Nothing about how you look makes me believe this is light exercise, as you call it. Nothing happened at school today, did it? Izuku shakes his head quickly, forcing a small, tired smile. No, nothing like that. I just wanted to start training a little at home. I'm being careful, I promise. Her eyes narrow slightly, still unconvinced, but the worry in her voice softens. Careful? I hope you really are, Izuku. I don't want you hurting yourself again. You've always had a strong heart, but don't push yourself too hard, okay? You're still growing. You don't have to carry everything all at once. He gives her a crooked smile. Thanks, Mom. As the first bite hits his tongue, warmth spreads through his chest not just from the food, but something deeper. The exhaustion doesn't vanish, but it eases, like a warm blanket being draped over frayed nerves. Star Operator. Buff applied, Mom's gratitude. Meals prepared by Mom restore plus 10% more HP and reduce fatigue faster. Duration, 2 hours. Star Operator. Izuku blinks as he sees the status window, smiling faintly. He had already forgotten about this. They eat together in a cozy hush. Mom chatters gently about her day, a new sale at the store, a pushy neighbor, a coworker who brought the wrong lunch. Izuku lets her voice wash over him, focusing on each bite and the way it slowly untangles the knot of tension in his shoulders. She doesn't pry further about school or his sudden motivation. She doesn't have to. Her love and concern come through in every careful bite of pork, every perfectly cooked egg, every sprinkle of green onion. By the time he finishes his katsudon, the soreness in his limbs has dulled to a manageable throb, and his fatigue has dropped sharply. Star Operator. Fatigue, 7550. Star Operator. Thanks for dinner, Izuku says as he begins to clear the dishes. Mom's smile is proud and warm. Of course, sweetie. You're growing up so fast. He blushes faintly and excuses himself to his room, heart a little lighter despite the weight of the day. TBC. The next day passes much like the one before. He gets up early and tries to get most of his daily quest in his room. He still goes to class even though he doesn't get any repeat quests of doing so. After school is done, he goes running in the park to complete his daily quest once more. And just like yesterday, a burst of accomplishment explodes in his chest when the system lets him know he succeeded. Star Operator. Daily quest complete. Heavy checkmark push-ups, 10-10, white heavy checkmark. Heavy checkmark sit-ups, 10-10, white heavy checkmark. Heavy checkmark squats, 10-10, white heavy checkmark. Heavy checkmark 1 km run, 1.01 km, white heavy checkmark. Reward. Plus 50 XP. Plus 1 stat point. Plus 1 random consumable. Star Operator. Immediately, a second screen pops up. Star Operator. Level up achieved. Level, 1-2. Stat points plus 1. Random reward. You're on your way. One step forward at a time. Star Operator. Izuku's breath catches in his throat. He did it. His muscles ache, sure, but the satisfaction outweighs the pain. He leveled up. With a relieved sigh, Izuku drags himself to the park bench, muscles aching with every step. Sweat drips from his hairline, soaking the collar of his shirt. He drops onto the bench with a groan, hands gripping the edge as he catches his breath. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats, a run. He can still feel each repetition in every muscle, a satisfying burn that humbles him. His legs throb, and his arms quiver from effort, but he can't help the small thrill of accomplishment buzzing through him. Still, it is a bit easier to complete his daily quest today, as his fatigue finally is going down. He taps to check his updated screen. Star Operator. Status window. Name, Midoriya Izuku. Level, 2. Class, none. Title, none. XP, 35,200. HP, 100-100. MP, 30-30. Fatigue, 5100. Stats. Strength, 5. Agility, 6. Intelligence, 15. Vitality, 6. Perception, 9. Stamina, 3. Unused stat points, 3. Star Operator. 3 points. His fingers hover over the screen, uncertain. He could boost strength and finally feel a bit more solid in his muscles. Or agility, to move faster, sharper, quicker. Or maybe stamina, to keep from feeling like this every single day. After a long moment, he clicks first on strength. His arms twitch slightly as he imagines himself able to push harder, lift heavier, stand taller. 1 stat point spent. Then he pauses again, indecision gnawing at him. Agility might help him dodge, react fast or critical if he ever ends up in a real fight. But right now, does he really need it? Shouldn't he focus on stats that help him survive and get through his daily quests? He takes a slow breath, fingers trembling slightly from fatigue and anticipation, and assigns the remaining 2 points to stamina. The numbers rise as the points lock in. He feels the same? Is he meant to immediately feel different? Or is this normal? Star operator. Status window updated. Strength, 6. Agility, 6. Intelligence, 15. Vitality, 6. Perception, 9. Stamina, 5. Unused stat points, 0. Star operator. A soft smile tugs at his lips. It's only a start, but it's a start he can feel, in his body, in his heartbeat. He leans back again, letting the morning breeze wash over him, and for the first time in days, he feels like he's moving forward. He checks his inventory to see which 2 random rewards he got today. One from completing his daily quest and one from his recent level up. Star operator. Inventory. Random reward, honey lemon sports drink. Restores 30 fatigue. Plus slight speed boost for 60 seconds. Random reward, bag of chewing gum, mystery flavor. Restores 5 HP per piece. Flavors range from watermelon to drywall. Star operator. Izuku raises an eyebrow at the bag of gum, a small laugh escaping him despite the soreness in his limbs. Watermelon or drywall? The system certainly had a sense of humor. He cracks open the honey lemon sports drink first, the cool liquid washing down his throat and easing some of the tightness in his muscles. The speed boost notice flashes briefly in his mind, though he can barely feel it while sitting. Still, it's encouraging something tangible that reminds him he's actually improving. For a long moment, he just sits there, breathing in the fresh morning air, letting the small victories of the day sink in. Strength improved, stamina improved, his daily quest completed, and even a level up. It feels like a lot, after the first few days of failing to even complete his dailies. But his thoughts don't stay idle. Tomorrow, he thinks, he'll push a little further. Run a bit faster. Hopefully, he'll feel less tired afterwards thanks to his improved stats. Izuku shifts slightly on the bench, mentally getting ready to get up and go home, when a movement at the edge of the path catches his eye. A man, if you could call him that, stumbles along the walkway. His body is unnaturally thin, limbs like fragile twigs, and long blonde bangs hang over his face, partially obscuring it. He struggles under the weight of 2 bulging grocery bags, swaying unsteadily with each step. A harsh cough erupts from him, rough and wheezing, and one of the bags tilts dangerously, sending a faint clatter as it bumps the pavement. Izuku's instincts kick in before his brain can catch up. "Sir, do you need help?" he calls, hurrying over. "Let me hear, I'll get that." The man blinks at him, momentarily startled. Up close, he looks worse, sunken cheeks, tired eyes, lips pale and dry. He coughs again, and Izuku spots a faint smear of red on his hand. Blood. But the man waves him off with a weak smile. "It's all right, young man, just a little, chronic problem." Izuku gently takes one of the bags anyway, ignoring the protest. "You shouldn't be carrying this much on your own if you're sick." Star operator. New side quest, assist the stranger. A man struggles beneath the weight of burdens unseen and unspoken. Lend him a hand. Objective, carry groceries and offer help. Reward. Plus 15 XP. Plus increased affection with? Chance of hidden outcome route. Star operator. Izuku wants to roll his eyes at the system. Before he even finishes reading, another screen pops into view, floating faintly above the man's head. Izuku's breath catches. Star operator. Name, Yagi Tashinori. Rank? Star operator. What the hell? Izuku thinks, blinking. He's seen low-level NPCs, teachers, store clerks, even Bakugo's screen shows up with actual title even if his rank is concealed. But this is blanked out. Like the system itself doesn't want to show him. Is this guy a high-level player? But no, that's absurd. This wasn't a game, even if the level-up-based system reminds him of gaming. And this guy, he's wheezing. Skin and bones. He looks like he could be swept away by a strong breeze. Still, whatever or whoever he is, the system thinks he's important. And he is intrigued by the chance of hidden outcome route of the quest. "Let me help you with these," Izuku says, gently pulling one of the bags from his grip despite the man's weak protest. "You really shouldn't be lifting this much if you're sick." "I'm not contagious," the man says with a wry little chuckle, voice barely more than breath. "It's an old injury." "That doesn't mean you should carry heavy groceries by yourself," Izuku insists. "If this tires you this much, you should get help and rest." For a moment, the man just looks at him. Really looks at him. There's something strange about his eyes. They aren't cold, or even tired, despite his sickly appearance. They're piercing, blue and sharp, filled with a kind of distant warmth like someone watching a sunrise through a storm. "What's your name, Shounen?" he asks. "Ah, Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya." Izuku blurts, embarrassed. "Sorry. I should have said that earlier." "Well, Midoriya Shounen," the man says, tone light but genuine, "you've got a strong sense of duty for someone your age." Izuku shrugs one shoulder, self-conscious. "I want to be a hero." The man hums, as they start walking, non-committal but not mocking. "Do you now?" I mean, I want to help people," Izuku clarifies quickly, flushing. "Not just with the big dramatic rescues, though that's part of it too. I think, if I can do something, even small stuff, then I should. That's what being a hero really means, right?" The older man chuckles a short, wheezing sound that might have been a cough if it hadn't carried such warmth. "That's a good way of putting it," he says. "Most kids your age just want the fame or the glory." Izuku hesitates, then offers a small grin as they leave the park and continue walking. "Yeah. I mean, those parts are cool, but it's not why. Heroes help people. So I try where I can. Even if people don't usually let me." He doesn't mention why they don't. This man doesn't know he's quirkless, and that's a rare thing. That lack of knowledge means Izuku can speak honestly, without having to dodge pitying stares or patronizing words. "You're sweating a lot for someone who's just helping with groceries," the man observes with a small smile, nodding at the damp patches darkening Izuku's uniform shirt. Izuku rubs the back of his neck. "I've been training. Push-ups. Sit-ups. Running after school. I figure if I want to be a hero, I can't just wait around and hope." The man's eyes soften behind his tired expression. "That's more than most people do. Most rely on their quirk exclusively. You have good instincts. Ah, we are here." Izuku offers a quick, nervous smile, then helps carry the groceries up the narrow stairs to the small apartment the man points out. He passes the last bag over carefully as the man opens his front door, only noticing up close just how pale the stranger's face looks. The cough earlier wasn't just a chuckle. Still, he doesn't pry. The older man accepts the final grocery bag with a nod of thanks. "You've got good instincts, Midoriya-kun," he says, his voice rasping slightly from the effort. "Not many take the initiative to do right by others these days." Izuku ducks his head, flustered. I just want to help." "Then keep helping. Even if people won't let you. Meddling when you don't need to is the essence of being a hero." The man gives a cheeky little wink. "Start small. Clean up your neighborhood. Look after others. You don't need a license for that." Izuku's eyes widen. "I hadn't thought about that. I mean, beyond helping out where I can." The man chuckles, low and thoughtful. "There's plenty of work that goes unnoticed. Places that could use a bit of care, streets that need cleaning, gardens that need tending, even fixing up broken benches or fences. Someone willing to put in the time and effort could make a real difference. It's not glamorous, but it's the sort of work that builds more than just muscle. Patience, focus, discipline. Things you'll need if you want to get stronger." Izuku nods slowly, the words echoing in his mind long after the man steps inside and closes the door behind him. Star operator. Side quest complete. Assist the stranger. Plus 15 XP. Plus 1 random consumable. Plus affection increased with Yagi-san. Hidden outcome progress. Star operator. Izuku blinks as the system's window flickers into existence. He stares at the floating notification, then glances back at the door the man disappeared behind. Who was that guy? Star operator. Name, Yagi Tashinori. Rank? Star operator. Still no answers. But he's helped, and it felt right, better than any quest reward. Izuku smiles faintly and turns toward home, feet dragging a bit, but heart light. On his way home, the sun starts to set. And it is at this moment that Izuku passes Dagoba Beach. He has passed here thousands of times over the years, but now, his mind still humming with Yagi's words, it is like he sees it for the first time. From the sidewalk above, the view was overwhelming. The sand was barely visible beneath mountains of garbage, rusted appliances, shattered screens, tangled wires, and bags of plastic warped by sun and time. The shoreline was a jagged mess, blurred where land met water. And then, an idea sparks in his mind. His chest tightens with that now familiar spark of resolve. He stares at the mess, imagining the weight of the garbage, the effort it would take to pick up each piece, sort it, carry it away. And yet, this is something he could actually do. Start small. Just a few pieces at a time. Help out, build himself at the same time. Not just his muscles, not just stamina, but patience, focus, the ability to see a task through from start to finish. Even something as mundane as cleaning a beach could teach him more than any push-up or sit-up ever could. He pictures himself moving along the shore, bag in hand, bending to pick up the bottles and wrappers, stacking driftwood into neat piles. Each motion deliberate, each small victory building on the last. A rhythm forms in his mind, almost like a quiet training sequence: squat to grab, twist to lift, step forward, repeat. A plan forms, simple but purposeful. He could start tomorrow. One bag at a time, one section at a time, and gradually, the beach could feel less like a dump and more like something cared for. A small, determined smile tugs at his lips. It won't be easy, and it will take time, but nothing worth doing ever is. He can handle this. Star Operator. New quest, side quest, shoreline redemption. A true hero doesn't wait for permission, they start by doing what they can. Objective: clean up Dagobah Beach, 0% complete. Rewards: plus 1500 XP. Plus 10 stat point. Plus 1 random reward box. Plus progress toward hidden route, Yagi Tashinori. Bonus: unlock title if completed within 250 days. Star Operator. Izuku blinks at the reward list, mouth dropping open just a little. 10 stat points? And 1500 XP, he whispers. That's huge. And a reward box? He hasn't even seen one of those before, but if the game logic holds, that could be anything. Equipment? A permanent buff? A consumable with a rare effect? He nearly starts bouncing where he stands until his eyes catch on the last part. Bonus: unlock title if completed within 250 days. He SCKs in a breath and immediately starts counting in his head. 250 days, that's, what, a little over 8 months. Wait, no less. More like 8 minus a week. His eyes widen. That's a long time. But also not a long time? He glances out at the beach again. His shoulders slump slightly. I'm going to need to come here almost every day, he mutters. Maybe not every day, but definitely more than a few times a week. He swipes the sweat from his brow and nods resolutely. But it's doable. Probably. Because heroes don't stop when something looks hard. They keep going. And if this is what it takes to get stronger, to prove he's serious, then he's all in. He has about a year until the UA entrance exams start. So he has time to do this and train at the same time. The breeze brushes against his face, carrying the tang of salt and the faint promise of change. For the first time in a while, Izuku feels the thrill of a task that is both tangible and meaningful. Not just for himself, but for everyone who might one day walk this shore after him. One step at a time. One piece of trash at a time. TBC. The next 2 weeks pass in a blur. At Aldera, Izuku keeps his head down, careful to stay just quiet enough to avoid Bakugo's attention. Classmates still whisper, still smirk behind his back, but their words sting less and less. Not when he has real goals to focus on, goals no one else can see. After school, he goes to Dagobah Beach. The place remains a monument to urban neglect, mountains of junk baking under the sun, the scent of salt mixed with rust and old oil. But it's his project now, and that makes all the difference. But he is starting to make visible progress in cleaning the place. The sand is slowly peeking through the layers of trash. Each movement feels easier than it did 2 weeks ago. Lifting heavy objects no longer makes his arms tremble uncontrollably, and his legs don't ache as sharply after bending and squatting to collect scattered bottles. The extra points in strength make each lift feel a little lighter. Stamina keeps his breathing steadier and keeps him from going longer before he starts feeling the fatigue. Izuku trains every day. Before school, after school, in his time off, it all blends together into a rhythm of sweat, bruises, and determination. He's memorized the daily quest by now: push-ups, sit-ups, squats, the run. He doesn't even need to check the screen anymore, it's muscle memory. At first, it was torture. His body ached in ways he didn't know it could. He'd collapse halfway through a set, gasping for air and cursing every push-up that refused to end. But now, he is starting to get used to it. His dailies are finished with an almost practiced ease, which he is very proud of. Thank you very much. The soreness is still there, but it's different now. Earned. It is easier to do the physical stuff now, thanks to his training and boosted stats. He's learned how to live with the system. How to summon menus with a thought, check his progress, manage his inventory. But progress has slowed. He's level 4 now, almost level 5. The early boosts of experience from small tasks are drying up. The easy XP helping with chores, picking up trash, returning lost wallets barely moves the bar anymore. It's like the system itself is expecting more of him. That's what brings him here, arms loaded with bags of vegetables and rice sacks for the community kitchen, helping Miss Tanaka, his next-door neighbor, unload her van in the afternoon heat. It's not glamorous work, but even a small amount of XP is welcome. And he is happy to help out. He shifts the last bag into her apartment, muscles burning, and wipes sweat from his brow with the back of his sleeve. "Thank you, dear." Miss Tanaka beams at him from behind her apron. "You've been such a big help today." Izuku straightens, breathless but grinning. "It's no problem, ma'am. Glad to help." And then the sound comes soft, familiar, satisfying. Ding! A glowing window appears before his eyes. Star operator. Quest complete. Help Miss Tanaka with food DLVRY. Reward, plus 30 XP. Star operator. Izuku can't help grinning. Every point counts. Every quest matters. Even the small ones. Star operator. Level up achieved. Level, 4-5. Stat points plus 1. You have earned 1 loot box, bronze tier. Star operator. His heart skips. For a moment, he just stares at the notification, the words shimmering in the air like they might vanish if he blinks too hard. Level 5. Finally. After what feels like forever. He's been grinding for days hauling trash, running until his legs gave out, cleaning every inch of the beach he could reach. The XP bar had crawled slower and slower with each level, mocking him with how little progress he made. But now finally he's done it. And a loot box. He's never received one of those before. The thought alone makes his pulse jump. The system's first true reward, something mysterious and new, something earned. He swallows, grinning despite himself, and holds out his hand as if instinctively expecting it to appear. It does. The cube materializes with a soft thunk against his palm, small and surprisingly heavy. Matte black, its edges gleam faintly under the fading light, a shimmer of gold flickering just beneath the surface. No music, no explosion of color, no fanfare, just quiet potential, sitting there in his hand like a secret. He turns it over carefully, breath held. The texture is smooth, cool against his skin, humming faintly with energy he can almost feel. "This is so cool," he whispers, excitement bubbling in his chest. He wonders what's inside. A weapon? Armor? A potion? Maybe a skill scroll like in games. The possibilities race through his mind so fast he nearly forgets to breathe. His thumb brushes against the top edge, where faint etching glows softly. Then a new message flickers open. Star operator. Tutorial complete, daily quests upgraded. Daily quests have been updated to reflect your current capabilities. Penalties are now unlocked. Falling behind will have consequences. Train like your life depends on it. Star operator. Penalties what? Izuku blurts aloud, just as the quest panel replaces it with a fresh list. Star operator. Daily quest, prepare to be a hero, advanced routine. Status, incomplete. 100 push-ups, 0-100. 100 sit-ups, 0-100. 100 squats, 0-100. 10 kilometers run, 0-10 kilometers. 20 minutes meditation, 0-20. Rewards. Stat points, plus 1. EXP, plus 100. Random reward. Instant recovery. Warning, incomplete daily quests will trigger a penalty. Penalty difficulty will match current level. Star operator. Izuku reads it twice, no, 3 times. His eyes linger on the word, penalty. He remembers the centipede, and the hour of hell, and feels a chill travel down his spine. No pressure or anything, he mutters. What is that steep curve as well? From 10 for each exercise and 1 kilometer of running to 110 kilometers? What the hell? The boosted XP is nice, but still. He has gotten better, sure, to the point that his daily quest comes easy to him, but this? What even is a penalty? How bad are we talking? The system does not respond. Cool. He turns his attention back to the loot box he just received. Guess I should open it. The lid clicks open smoothly as soon as he says it. Star operator. You have received, mysterious iron key, bound. A weathered key with a crest that seems to shift in your peripheral vision. Use, grants entrance to the Shadow Monarch's castle. Star operator. Izuku stares at the key in his hand. The key feels heavy in his hand. Not just in weight, more like in meaning. Shadow Monarch, he murmurs. That's him, right? Jinwoo? He remembers meeting the man. Ghost? The trial. His voice, calm and quiet. The idea of a castle built by or for him. Terrifying. But also interesting, Izuku admits aloud. He's curious. Nervous but curious. Jinwoo had been the first person to believe he could make it as a hero. Just because Izuku said that is what he wanted. And yes, he had tested Izuku in a brutal way. He still has nightmares every once in a while about those centipede, but the reward he got from it all is worth it. The system Jinwoo had gifted him with. It is still early, and Izuku hasn't leveled up a lot yet, so he isn't sure what advantages he will receive along the way, but already he is seeing improvement in himself. And if there is a chance he might see Jinwoo at this castle, he wants to thank the man. He bites his lip, glancing back toward the safe paths and open streets. Then down at the key. He has time, right now. He could try it? Star operator, would you like to use the key? YN. Star operator. He hesitates for a second before he confirms. The key pulses once. And a portal opens in front of him. It's like ink bleeding into the air, liquid shadow, swirling at the edges. No reflection. No light. Just an invitation. He hesitates. Then steps through. The air changes the moment Izuku crosses the threshold. The world around him goes still, eerily still. No breeze, no birds, no distant hum of city life. Just silence, thick and pressing. The shadows coil around his ankles as the portal closes behind him, and the scent of old stone and cold air fills his nose. He stumbles a step forward, blinking as his eyes adjust. He gets why it is called a castle now. Even standing inside. He is standing in a big open hall, resembling some of the European castles he has seen in pictures. The stone is obsidian, dark and polished. Arched ceilings soar above, supported by pillars. The windows show only a dim purple light that pulses like slowly to an unknown beat. And in the center of the vast hall, standing before an impressive staircase, with his hands tucked calmly behind his back. Jinwoo, Izuku breathes. The man turns. Still tall. Still dressed in that long black coat. It is a relief to see him again, despite barely knowing him. You came, Jinwoo says with an approving smile. Good. Izuku's feet carry him forward before he really decides to move. I wasn't sure I'd see you again. A ghost of a smile touches Jinwoo's mouth. I had hoped to see you again too. But as I am simply an imprint of my former self, I wasn't sure. There's a brief, reverent pause. Izuku's fingers tighten around the key he can no longer see, already used, already gone, but the weight of it still lingers in his palm. He swallows, voice soft. I just wanted to say, thank you. For choosing me. Jinwoo tilts his head slightly. I didn't. I said so before, didn't I? Izuku blinks. Huh? I didn't choose you, Jinwoo repeats. The system did. Izuku's eyes widen. Wait, then why me? The system finds potential. Not strength. Not luck. Not popularity. Those obelisks were designed to let through someone with potential, someone suited for the powers I wanted to pass on, and someone who would use them for something good. For so long, people touched the stones, all over the world. You are the first, and only one deemed worthy to be let through and tested. Jinwoo steps forward, his gaze sharper now. The trial was the ultimate test. Which you passed, Jinwoo says simply. That was your doing, not mine. You proved yourself. Izuku's chest tightens at the memory, the pain, the blood, the sheer fear. But also the fierce, blazing refusal to give up. I'm not even sure if I'm quirkless anymore, he admits in a rush. I mean, I still feel like I am, sometimes. But this system, it gives me something, but it's not like a real quirk, and I can't prove it, and... Jinwoo holds up a hand, calm. You don't need to prove anything. The system is not a quirk. It's a power apart. And it's bound to you now. Izuku's breath catches. Something about the way Jinwoo says it makes it feel absolute. But if it's not a quirk, Izuku says hesitantly, how do I ever explain it? How do I use it to help people? By learning. Growing. Jinwoo steps past him, and suddenly Izuku realizes the two of them stand before a massive stone door carved into the far wall. Others can't see the screens like you can, that much is certainly true. And while the system's effects might not be visible to others right now, that won't always be the case. Izuku stares. The system will level you up as you grow, matching the power levels of this world, instead of mine. People who are a certain rank here might not possess the power someone from my life with the same level did. Or the other way around, I have no clue what kind of world you live in. And as you grow stronger and level up, so will the system unlock certain of my old powers for you. But if it is easier to have it officially labeled as a quirk, then you should do that. As I said, I have no clue how your world or quirks work. Silence falls for a moment. Then Jinwoo gestures, and a ripple spreads through the air beside him. A dagger materializes in the man's hand, and he holds it out towards Izuku. Izuku steps forward cautiously, reaching out. Is this for me? It is, Jinwoo confirms. Take it, you'll need this in your trial ahead. As Izuku accepts the dagger handed to him, a new message appears in his vision. Star operator. Item acquired, beginner's dagger. Attack, +5. Weight, light. Durability, high. Note, don't stab yourself. Star operator. You're about to begin your first dungeon, Jinwoo explains after Izuku snorts in surprise at the last of the system's notes. This castle is built by my shadows as a gift and now it is yours to use. See it as a training ground as traditional dungeons don't exist in this world. Here, you'll fight, and learn, and adapt. Izuku swallows hard. What exactly is a dungeon? In my world, that's what we called sealed combat zones, Jinwoo says. They appeared without warning gates that led to another space. Inside were monsters, traps, and trials. The only way to close a gate was to clear the dungeon inside, and kill the boss. If it wasn't cleared in time, the monsters would break out. Izuku's voice squeaks. Break out? Jinwoo nods. Depending on how strong the monsters inside were, entire cities fell to them. Thousands died. That's why hunters existed. People awoke powers, and would fight inside the dungeons to try and clear them before they posed a danger to the world. These hunters formed hunting parties, and the stronger ones joined guilds, large organizations. With money, support, and their own agendas. At its height, the hunter world was as political as it was deadly. He pauses, letting that settle. There were dungeons full of beasts, wolves, insects, giants. Others had demons or creatures from ancient myths. Some had puzzles or shifting layouts. And the deeper the dungeon, the more dangerous it became. We ranked them from E to S, but that was only a rough estimate. Sometimes an easy dungeon still killed everyone inside. Which is why generally no one was allowed alone inside a dungeon. Izuku's throat feels dry. You went into those? Too many times, Jinwoo says simply. But you won't be dropped into chaos. Your dungeon is stabilized, bound to the castle. Each floor is tailored to train you in phases, depending on your current level as you enter them. Your first run won't kill you. But don't get the wrong impression either, these also aren't designed to be easy. He gestures toward the massive door behind him, carved with shadows that seem to move if one stares too long. This is floor 1 of the Shadow Monarch's castle. Your training grounds. There's a long pause. Wait, Izuku says, his voice cracking. I have never actually fought anyone before. I mean, not really. And with a weapon? You'll learn, Jinwoo says simply. The words are calm. Not cruel. Just certain. Izuku looks down at the dagger in his hands. It's light, balanced, cool to the touch, the kind of metal that hums with potential. And dread. He's never even held a knife like this before. Not one meant to hurt. To kill. I don't know if I can, he admits quietly. I am not a... I wanted to be a hero, but heroes save people. They don't. Jinwoo cuts in gently, they do what's needed to be done to protect others. That sometimes includes fighting. Or worse. The huge double doors groan open, slow and ominous, revealing a long, dim corridor within. It smells of damp stone and something darker, old shadows and challenge. Jinwoo nods toward it. They're waiting. You don't need to win with strength. Use your head. And if you fall? I'll pull you out. Once. After that you're on your own. Izuku gulps. The promise of backup eases something in his chest. Not enough to banish the fear entirely, but enough to let him take a shaky step forward. The door closes behind him with a deep, echoing boom. A corridor stretches ahead, torchlight spontaneously catching fire to light his way. The light is low, casting heavy shadows on the ancient stonework. Everything feels like it's watching him. A new notification pings in his vision. Star Operator. Quest, Shadow Trial Floor 1. Objective, clear all shadow soldiers on Floor 1 of the Shadow Monarch's castle. Monsters defeated, 0-10. Reward. Plus 400 XP. Plus rune stone. Star Operator. Right, he whispers. The dagger feels heavier already. The first sound he hears is a low scraping. Then another. A shape emerges from the hallway, shadow slow-moving, vaguely human-shaped, its armor worn and rusted, its helmet cracked. Its eyes glow faint purple. Star Operator. Shadow Soldier. Level 6. Star Operator. It looks impressive. Just one level above him. Still, he has trouble believing the soldier is only a little bit stronger than him right now. It looks a lot stronger than that. It's moving toward him with a drawn blade. It looks slow, as if time has slowed down. Izuku's whole body locks. He doesn't move. Can't. His breath comes too fast. His hands shake around the dagger's hilt. It's just a training construct, right? Something coded or programmed or summoned or. It raises its sword. He stumbles back. Wait. The blade comes down with surprising force, and Izuku throws himself to the side. It scrapes across his arm, burns fire into his skin. The cut isn't deep, but it's real. Pain floods his nerves. His ears ring. He gasps, eyes wide. It can hurt me? Another notification appears. Star Operator. HP -5. You are bleeding, minor. Star Operator. He clamps a hand over the wound, trembling. It's not a game. It's real. This is real. The soldier turns, dragging its feet forward again. Izuku's fear spikes. Every part of him screams to run. To quit. To call for help. But then. It is like a calm settles over him. His grip tightens on the dagger. It feels strangely natural in his hand. Even if he has no clue what to do with it. I don't want to hurt anyone, he whispers. But I don't want to be powerless either. When the soldier lunges again, he sidesteps, clumsy but quick, and drives the dagger forward with both hands. He shuts his eyes at the last second. The blade sinks into something that isn't quite flesh, cool and brittle, like shadow pretending to be bone. The soldier collapses. Dissolves into mist and ash. Izuku pants hard, staring at the space it left behind. A new message appears. Star Operator, enemy defeated. EXP, plus 100. Monsters defeated, 110. Star Operator, his legs almost give out. But he's still standing. Okay, he whispers. Okay. 1 down. There are 9 more to go. And his hands won't stop shaking. But, he did it. Maybe he can learn. Even if it hurts. Even if he's scared. He takes a breath, squares his shoulders, and steps deeper into the shadows. His heart pounds in his chest, but he forces himself to focus. Each breath steadying him more. He can do this. He has to. The dagger feels lighter now, as if the weight of fear has lessened just a bit. He's never hurt anyone before, never imagined he would have to, but this is different. These shadows aren't people. They're tests. Challenges. Something he has to overcome. As he moves forward cautiously, Izuku's mind races, already analyzing each step. 9 left. He needs to be careful. Learn their patterns. Not rush. The next foes appear, one after another, gaining XP as he moves forward, giving him a bit of breathing room between each of them. Each slightly different but still manageable. He's more confident now, his strikes more assured, the fear replaced by a growing determination. Still, the strain shows in his chest, the exhaustion is real. But with every victory, his belief grows. He is stronger than he was before. Izuku's breath comes in short, ragged bursts as the last 3 shadows materialize before him. 2 shadow knights step forward, armor clinking softly in the gloom, ominous, unyielding. Star Operator, Shadow Knight. Level 7. Star Operator. Between them, a figure draped in dark robes emerges, fabric rippling like liquid smoke. The stranger lifts his hands, and the air hums with a chilling power. Star Operator, Shadow Mage. Level 8. Star Operator. His heart hammers against his ribs. Don't. Freeze now. Don't let fear win. The knights move first, heavy boots thundering against the stone floor. Twin blades arc toward him fast, precise. Izuku ducks under the first swing, feels the rush of displaced air against his cheek, then twists away from the second. He counters with a quick jab to the nearest knight's leg, his dagger scraping across spectral metal. It barely leaves a mark. They're stronger than the ones before. The one level really makes a difference. He can't stand still. He has to keep moving, keep dodging. A low chant rises from behind them. The mage's hands glow with dark light, energy swirling like smoke around his fingers before bursting into black shards that cut through the air. Izuku dives aside too slow. One shard grazes his arm, burning cold. His HP bar drops. No, not now. He fumbles through his inventory, breath sharp, vision blurring. A health potion, he grabs it, downs it fast. Warmth surges through his body, dulling the pain and clearing his head. Focus. Stay calm. The knights close in again, moving like hunters. Izuku parries one blade with his dagger, using the rebound to twist and drive his knee into the knight's abdomen. The spectral armor shudders, and the knight stumbles back. The second knight lunges in, Izuku spins, dragging his dagger across the gap between armor plates. A burst of shadow mist erupts, the knight collapses into vapor, dissolving into nothing. Star Operator, enemy defeated. EXP, plus 150. Monsters defeated, 810. Star Operator, 1 down, he pants. The mage's chant quickens. A ball of crackling black fire forms in his palm, heat and darkness coiling together. He hurls it. Izuku darts to the side, the fireball explodes against the wall, spraying shards of black fire across the room. The remaining knight takes advantage of the distraction, slamming his shield into Izuku's chest. Pain bursts through his ribs, he barely keeps his footing. Too close. Snarling, Izuku sidesteps the next blow and strikes upward, burying his dagger deep into the knight's side where the armor thins. A hollow groan echoes as the knight disintegrates into mist. Star Operator, enemy defeated. EXP, plus 150. Monsters defeated, 910. Star Operator, Before he can breathe, another pulse of energy ripples through the chamber. The mage again, chanting louder now, summoning a storm of dark fire. No time to think. Izuku rushes him head-on, weaving through the deadly barrage. Shadows scorch the floor where he just stood. At the last instant, he drops low and drives his dagger straight through the mage's chest. The shadow fire dies instantly. The mage releases an eerie, hollow scream before fading into smoke. Star Operator, enemy defeated. EXP, plus 200. Monsters defeated, 10-10. Star Operator, silence falls. Izuku stands amid the dissolving darkness, chest heaving, every muscle trembling. 3 fading mists swirl away into nothing. He did it. He's alive. Victorious. But as the last wisp of shadow fades, he realizes his hands are still shaking, not from fear this time, but from the rush of surviving what should have been impossible. Izuku barely has time to catch his breath before a notification blinks in front of his eyes. Star Operator, level up. Level, 5-6. Stat points +1. Random reward. Star Operator, a second message flashes almost instantly after. Star Operator, dungeon clear. You have defeated all enemies on floor 1 of the Shadow Monarch's castle. You have earned plus 400 XP, plus Rune Stone Candiaru's blessing. Star Operator. For a heartbeat, he just stares, chest still heaving. Level 6, already? He'd barely reached level 5 a few hours ago. It feels unreal, like the system itself is rewarding him too fast for him to catch up, especially after the grind of the last few days. His pulse pounds in his ears, half from the rush of battle, half from disbelief. He wipes sweat from his forehead, fingers trembling. Level 6, he whispers aloud, a grin tugging at the corner of his mouth. I actually did it. But the thrill fades as quickly as it comes. His gaze drifts to the places where the shadows had fallen. A hollow ache spreads in his chest. He knows they were monsters. Shadows, meant to train him and help him grow stronger. They attacked first. They weren't real people, and yet he'd ended them. Killed them. The thought feels heavy, too big to fit inside his head. His stomach twists as he looks down at his dagger, the edge glinting faintly under the dim light. His hands shake harder now, not from exhaustion but from the quiet realization of what he's done. Heroes don't kill. He bites his lip hard enough to sting. He tells himself it's different here, that these things weren't alive in the same way he is, but the guilt doesn't let go. It sits deep, under his ribs, a weight he doesn't quite know what to do with. Then the fingers of his other hand brush the smooth stone that's appeared in his palm, a rune stone, warm to the touch. He has no idea what a runestone is, but he is sure either the system or Jinwoo will explain it to him. Its surface shimmers faintly, a whisper of dark light coiling within. The warmth steadies him a little. He closes his hand around it, takes one last steadying breath, and looks toward the far end of the chamber. The heavy door waits. He steps forward, pushes it open. Jinwoo is waiting for him as he finishes his trial. The man's expression is unreadable at first, but then a slow, approving smile breaks across his face. Well done, Izuku, Jinwoo says, his voice calm but filled with pride. You've made excellent progress. Izuku bows his head slightly, cheeks flushed. Thank you. I wasn't sure I was doing any of it right. You were, Jinwoo assures him. You are still alive, aren't you? That is the important part. He tilts his head slightly. Most first-time hunters freeze. Or run. Or die, if their party isn't paying attention. That sounds about right for me normally, Izuku mutters. Jinwoo gives him a small, almost teasing look. But you didn't. Izuku swallows, fingers twisting in the hem of his shirt before he forces himself to straighten. I have a question. Actually, kind of a big one. Jinwoo waits, patient. Izuku's stomach knots. The images flash behind his eyes, the shadow creatures dissolving into black dust as he struck them, the strange weightless feeling of hitting something that isn't alive but looks like it should be. It might have been different for you, but here, he begins slowly, heroes don't kill. Heroes save people. They stop the villains. But taking lives. Jinwoo's eyes soften, but he doesn't interrupt. But in the dungeon. Izuku's throat closes. He forces the words out anyway. I'm destroying things. Monsters. Even if they vanish afterward, I'm still hurting something. Ending something. And I don't know if that makes me, he breathes in shakily, a bad hero. Or even, a villain? It feels wrong. Silence stretches for a moment. Then Jinwoo steps closer, his presence steady and grounding. The man's expression softens, as if in understanding. Izuku, he says, voice low, you're not hurting anyone. Izuku lifts his head, startled. My soldiers, Jinwoo continues, aren't alive the way people or even the monsters from my world were. Not anymore. They don't feel pain. They don't fear. They don't suffer. His shadows shift behind him as if acknowledging his words, their forms calm, almost respectful. When you cut them down, they're not experiencing death. They're simply returning to where they came from. And I bring them back. He lifts a hand. One of the weaker soldiers materializes beside him, bows once, and dissolves again, clean, instantaneous, effortless. No harm, Jinwoo says softly. No loss. Just training. Izuku swallows, but some of the tension uncoils in his chest. The guilt doesn't vanish but it eases. But you, Izuku hesitates. Your world. Does this mean you did have to kill? Real people. Real monsters. I can't imagine doing something like that, Jinwoo's gaze drifts for a moment far away, shadowed, not haunted, exactly, but marked. My world, Jinwoo says slowly, was built on survival. There wasn't a hero system. No laws protecting civilians. No teachers guiding children with powers. No pro-heroes keeping the balance. It was kill or be killed. And even then, I tried not to kill unless I had no choice. But morals like that didn't survive long in the life of a hunter. Izuku's chest tightens. I don't want to become someone who just accepts that, he whispers. I don't want killing to feel normal. And it won't, Jinwoo answers immediately, firmly. Because your world is different. Because you are different. Izuku blinks. You're thinking about this, Jinwoo says. Questioning it. Worrying about the impact your actions have. That alone tells me you're not someone who will lose himself. You implied that heroes here fight to protect. Not to dominate. Not to destroy. Izuku nods slowly, absorbing the words. But, Jinwoo adds, and his tone shifts gentle, but serious, there may come a day when you face something you will have to stop. Something dangerous. Something that endangers lives. A day where simply fighting will not be enough. And you'll have to decide what you can live with. Izuku freezes. Because he knows that. He's always known that. But hearing it from someone who's lived through it, someone who's had to make those choices, hits harder than expected. Jinwoo crouches a bit so they're eye level. You don't have to be me, he says quietly. You won't become me. My path was born from necessity. Yours is born from choice. I hope my explanation reassured your concerns. A bit, Izuku's breath shakes. Jinwoo smiles a bit sadly at him, before changing the subject. Very well. It's time for you to go back. Will I see you again? Izuku asks, voice small. I mean, this is twice now, so maybe that means we'll meet again? But I don't know how this works yet, and... Jinwoo lifts a hand, stopping him gently. I don't know either, he admits. The system brought me here on its own terms. I can't control when or if it will do so again. A beat. But given that we've talked like this twice already, his mouth curves into a faint, hopeful smile. I'd say your chances are good. Izuku brightens just a little. Okay. That's good. I hope so. Jinwoo nods toward the great doors as they slowly begin to part, showing the same portal he had stepped through to get here. You should return. There's still a lot ahead of you. Izuku flinches as something occurs to him. Wait, my new daily quests. Do I have to do them today? Because I already did the old ones this morning, and if the new ones count as separate, then I technically might have missed them, and if that means I'm already failing. Jinwoo chuckles under his breath. Check the system. Right. Izuku mutters nervously as he opens his menu to check. Star operator. Daily quests, reset pending. Next set unlocks in 6 hours 23 minutes and 11 seconds. Star operator. Izuku exhales so hard his shoulders sag. Oh, thank goodness. They start tomorrow. Good, Jinwoo says, sounding amused. You've already worked hard today. Rest while you can. Izuku nods quickly. Okay. I will. And, thank you. Really. You're welcome. Jinwoo steps back, shadows swirling gently around his feet. Go on. Your world is waiting. Izuku hesitates one last second, heart full, then steps toward the opening doors. I hope I see you again, he murmurs. Jinwoo's answer is a quiet, thoughtful, so do I. The shadows swallow him as Izuku steps through the portal. Later that night, Izuku lies on his bed, pale moonlight spilling softly through the curtains and casting faint patterns across the floor. The room feels unusually quiet, as if the world outside has slowed just for him. His hands rest lightly on his stomach, fingers twitching with the restless energy of the day's events. He blinks up at the ceiling, mind swirling with memories of the dungeon. He actually killed them. The knights and mage. The words feel strange, heavy. His fingers curl instinctively, as if holding the dagger again. But they weren't people, right? They were shadows. Though he has no clue what that means, there had been no blood, no visible pain. Monsters created from Jinwoo's power. Still. It isn't easy. He swallows hard. The idea of taking life, even shadow life, unsettles him. Heroes don't kill. Heroes save. They protect. He hears those words like a mantra repeated endlessly. And yet, here he is, wielding a dagger, stabbing enemies down. Can he still be a hero if he has to fight like this? The question gnaws at him. He thinks back to the moment he first used the dagger, cold steel against his palm, surprisingly light and balanced. There's an odd comfort to it, a strange familiarity, almost as if it belongs to him. His fingers curl around the hilt without hesitation, and in that instant, the fear fades, replaced by focus. Maybe it's not the killing that defines him, but what he fights for. Protecting others. That's what matters. The memories of the 3 final enemies, the 2 knights and the mage, rush back. How they swarm him all at once, overwhelming. The sting of their attacks, the sudden pain as he dodges, the pounding of his heart, the sharp taste of adrenaline. His breath catches. He had been scared. He'd almost run out of health. He even had to use a potion. He glances over at the small pouch of healing items he laid on his bedside table. He survived. He didn't give up. Izuku's eyes shift to the small, shimmering stone resting beside the pouch, the rune stone he had been given as a reward for clearing his first dungeon. The smooth surface glimmers softly in the dim light. He picks it up, weighing it in his palm. The stone is cool, almost unnervingly so, but comforting, somehow. Steady. His vision flickers with the status message. Star Operator, Rune Stone, Candiaru's Blessing. Effect, greatly accelerates stamina and MP recovery. Health regeneration enhanced while at rest. Passive effect, resistance to fatigue, minor toxins, and cumulative damage. Note, long-term use may strengthen natural recovery processes beyond normal limits. To use, Shatter. Star Operator, not a weapon. Not armor. Not even a flashy skill. Just, recovery? Izuku frowns, reading over the description again. There's no combat technique here. No burst of speed or shadowy vanish. But the longer he stares at it, the more the implications begin to unfold in his mind. Faster stamina and MP regen. Health recovery while at rest. Resistance to fatigue. Not a skill for winning fights. A skill for surviving them. For lasting. He presses the cool stone between his fingers and closes his eyes. He's still aching from the dungeon bruises blooming beneath his skin, his muscles screaming from overuse. His MP bar remains a low sliver. Every movement tugs on something sore. And yet? A passive blessing that makes all of that fade. Even a little. Izuku always imagined himself becoming the kind of hero who stood tall in battle, who took the hit, bore the weight, kept going. With a smile. Like All Might. But he never had the body for it. Not before. Not with his lack of a quirk. And even now, with the system whispering new power into his skin, he still feels fragile. But maybe, he doesn't have to be. Not in the way he thought. Maybe this is the kind of strength he needs. A quiet endurance. The ability to recover faster. Train harder. Outlast the odds, not overpower them. A body that catches up to the will he's always had. He opens his eyes. Yeah, he murmurs. That sounds right. He presses the stone between both palms. It shatters with a soft crack, like dry ice meeting warm air, and the effect is immediate. Star Operator. New passive acquired, Candiaru's Blessing. Stamina and MP regenerate 20% faster while out of combat. HP gradually restores during rest PRDS. Passive resistance to fatigue, minor toxins, and lingering physical strain. Prolonged use may enhance the body's natural healing capacity. Star Operator. He already used some healing items after his trip in the dungeon, so he can't actually see a difference in his stats or HP bar right now, but this? This he can work with. This he can build on. Izuku exhales softly. His hands fall to his sides. He walks to his desk, one of his trusted notebooks still open from earlier, and flips to a clean page. His pen slides into his grip without hesitation. Passive skill, Candiaru's Blessing. Increases stamina recovery rate outside combat. MP begins regenerating at rest. HP recovery while asleep or inactive. Resistance to fatigue buildup. Resistance to minor poisons and debuffs. Ideal for training, allows longer sessions, less downtime. Paired with healing support stats, could create a combat medic role. Long-term advantage in dungeons or extended missions. Durable. Reliable. Sustainable. He leans back, letting the pen fall across the page. It's not the kind of skill people notice in a fight. But it's the kind that wins one eventually. That keeps you moving when others fall. That gives you another chance to rise up again. It's quiet power. The kind that doesn't show off. The kind that waits. Recovers. Endures. A smile tugs at his lips, not bright, not wild. Just sure. He glances at the clock. Just past 9 p.m. Outside, the city hums. The streets flicker with lamplight. And here, in the quiet of his room, something in him settles. Not with a crash. Not with a surge. Just a breath. A balance. Izuku Midoriya might never be the flashiest hero. Might never have the boldest quirk. But with this blessing running beneath his skin, slow and steady, maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe this is the kind of strength he was always meant for. And with the system on his side, it's only the beginning. Izuku, dinner's ready, his mom calls from the kitchen. He blinks, startled out of his thoughts. The faint warmth of shadow energy still lingers along his skin like dust, but it fades as he turns toward her voice. "I'm coming," he says, slipping his notebook back into his desk drawer. His room is quiet again, save for the cooling air drifting through the open window. He steps out into the hallway, blinking at the soft yellow light that spills from the kitchen. The comforting scent of simmered vegetables and miso broth greets him, warm and grounding. His mother stands by the table, already plating the last of the stir-fry, apron dusted with sauce and a proud little smile on her face. "You've been working hard," she says as he slides into his seat. "You've really filled out lately too. I think we'll need to go shopping soon. Some of your shirts are looking a little tight in the shoulders." Izuku freezes mid-reach for his chopsticks, eyebrows rising. "Really?" Inko laughs gently. "You haven't noticed? You've hit a growth spurt, sweetie. Just a few weeks ago, I was still taller than you. And now I think you are actually taller than me." He flushes, caught off guard. "I've been, kind of distracted." She sets a bowl of rice in front of him and gives his shoulder a light squeeze. "That's okay. Just make sure you take care of yourself, too. Eat well. Sleep enough. Not everything has to be done all at once." Izuku nods and mutters a soft thank you as they both settle in. They eat in comfortable quiet for a few minutes, only the occasional clink of utensils filling the room. He chews thoughtfully, realizing just how hungry he is. His body's burning through more energy than it used to, more than he's ever needed before. Between the training, the cleaning of Dagobah Beach and now the dungeon, it's no wonder he's changing. Growing. Not just taller. He sneaks a glance at his hands, noting the faint calluses starting to form on his fingers. The quiet tension in his arms, even at rest. His appetite. His stamina. Even the way he walks is starting to shift, quieter, more controlled. "I'm proud of you, you know," Inko says suddenly. He looks up, startled. She's smiling again, soft and tired and full of warmth. "I don't always know what you're doing in your room, or what's on your mind lately, but you seem more sure of yourself than you used to. Like you're finding your own rhythm." Izuku swallows the sudden lump in his throat and nods again, not trusting his voice. He can't tell her everything, not yet. Not about dungeons or shadows or systems. But hearing that still matters. Maybe more than she knows. Morning hits harder than Izuku expects. He woke, as if extricating himself from a weighty covering of fear he had donned the prior evening. The first thing on his mind isn't school, or breakfast, or even the soreness in his shoulders. It's the new daily. The bigger daily. The one he can't afford to fail, because he dreads what the system will whip up as penalty if he does fail. Izuku stays still for a moment, staring at the ceiling, pretending he isn't already stressing about it. The effort lasts maybe 3 seconds. His pulse picks up anyway. With a resigned groan, he pushes himself upright. The familiar motion bringing up the system menu comes easily now. His fingers swipe through the air, triggering the interface he's been avoiding since last night. And there it is. The new daily quest, the harder numbers, the impossible jump in requirements. Star operator. Daily quest, prepare to be a hero, advanced routine. Status, incomplete. Push-ups, 100, 0, 100. Sit-ups, 100, 0, 100. Squats, 100, 0, 100. Run, 10 kilometers, 0, 10 kilometers. Meditation, 20 minutes, 0, 20. Rewards. Stat points, +1. EXP, +100. Random reward. Warning, incomplete daily quests will trigger a penalty. Penalty difficulty will match current level. Star operator. Izuku stares at the screen. Then his head drops back onto the pillow with a dull thud. Oh no. The numbers glare back at him. 100 sets. Of each. 10 kilometers. 10 times more than yesterday. 10 times more than he's ever managed. The scale of it hits like a punch to the chest, a dizzy, sinking feeling that crawls under his ribs and doesn't let go. His breath goes thin. His mind skitters uselessly between "that's impossible" and "you have to do it anyway." His mind is still reeling from yesterday reaching level 5 and 6 in the same day, the trial in the castle, the restless sleep that followed. He feels like he jumped back in time, like he's once again that boy who could barely manage 10 push-ups without shaking. He shakes his head and sits up again, calculating in his head when he would find the time to try and complete his new daily quest. He can't skip school, but this will have to take priority to cleaning the beach. At least for now. Okay, Izuku mutters, rubbing his face. Okay. Just start. Start something. He rolls out of bed. The floor is cold, but his body moves automatically now. 10 of each used to be unthinkable, but after weeks of tutorial dailies, his body has adapted. His muscles know this drill. He drops into push-up position. 1, 2, 3. It is easy. At 10, he pauses, shakes out his arms, then continues without letting himself think about it. 11. 12. 13. It burns, but not badly. 14 stings. 15 demands effort, but he manages, exhaling hard. He nods. Okay. 15. He can do this in chunks. 5 at a time he can handle. He goes for 16. His arms instantly protest, heat flaring as if someone jammed molten metal into his joints. 17 is a struggle. 18 demands every ounce of stubbornness in his bloodline. On 19, he pushes, and collapses halfway, arm giving out. He faceplants. Hard. He stays there, cheek mashed into the floor. Okay, he mumbles into the wood, before getting up. So, not a terrible start. Better than I feared, but less than I hoped. Star operator. 19 100 push-ups. Star operator. Izuku drags himself upright, takes a deep breath, and moves to sit-ups. Because he wants to get a start at everything, instead of pushing for one set in particular. 10 go smoothly. 11 burns. 12 is fine once he gets into rhythm. 13 aches. 14 stabs. 15 leaves him gasping but accomplished. He tries 16. His abs seize halfway up, and he tips over sideways with a strangled noise. Gawai. Star operator. 15 100 sit-ups. Star operator. Squats next. It goes about the same as the previous exercises. The initial 10 progress smoothly, although he is somewhat breathless due to all the exercises he already completed today. He makes it to 17 until his legs buckle and he drops onto his butt with a dull thud. He stares at the wall. Star operator. 16 100 squats. Star operator. He checks the time. 20 minutes before he needs to leave for school. That's enough for now, Izuku tells himself, wobbling as he stands. If I run getting to school and then focus on the rest after class? Maybe I can make it? His voice trails into a tiny, unconvincing mumble. He forces himself through a few stretches mostly to avoid walking like a newly born baby deer, then packs his bag with trembling fingers. He begins running upon exiting his building, managing the first few streets despite muscle fatigue. The closer he gets to school, the harder it gets. His legs scream. His lungs feel like he's inhaling glass. He cuts his usual route short and takes the quickest way to school. Okay, he wheezes. So maybe most of the run definitely has to happen after school. Or maybe I can find some time during lunch. He straightens, panting, and keeps walking. He will get it done. He has to get it done. He walks into school with legs that feel like they're filled with wet cement. Every step reminds him how much of the daily quest is left. Every shift of muscle whispers that he's not recovering fast enough. He slips into his seat. His arms shake as he puts down his bag. Someone behind him snickers. Someone else mutters, "Deku looks like he's gonna pass out." He hunches over his notebook, not really seeing the page. He tries to write, but his fingers cramp around the pencil. His heartbeat thumps in his ears the entire time the teacher lectures. He doesn't hear a word. He keeps eyeing his progressing through the day. Push-ups, 100, 19 100. Sit-ups, 100, 15 100. Squats, 100, 16 100. Run, 10 kilometers, 3, 7 10 kilometers. Meditation, 20 minutes, 0 20. He managed to run to school, taking a shorter route than usual, so he still has 3 kilometers to go. 80 plus of everything else left too. And he has no idea how to start on meditation. His stomach twists every time he thinks about the penalty. He tries, he really does, not to think about said penalty, but it doesn't work. It doesn't help. At one point, the teacher calls his name and Izuku startles so hard his knee bangs against the underside of the desk. A few kids laugh. Bakugo doesn't even bother looking at him, just scoffs, like the noise itself is irritating. The rest of the PRD blurs. At some point his breathing slows without him noticing. His thoughts stop looping and start drifting. The numbers, the fear, the countdown in his head all fade into a distant hum. He stares at the blackboard without really seeing it, spine straightening, shoulders loosening despite the ache. For a stretch of time that doesn't register, he just exists quiet, focused, empty. Lunch comes, and the spell breaks. The clatter of trays snaps him back into himself, and he blinks hard, disoriented, like he's been shaken awake. He barely tastes what he eats. He tries doing a few push-ups behind the gym, but after another 10 his muscles cramp so sharply he curls over and stays hunched for a full minute, breathing through clenched teeth. When he returns to class, the teacher frowns at him. Maybe because he's pale. Maybe because he's sweating. Maybe because he keeps blinking like he's trying to force his eyes to work. By the last PRD, his legs shake so badly he has to grip the edge of his desk when standing. He tells himself it'll get easier. He'll get a burst of energy. He'll catch a second wind after school. He's lying to himself and he knows it, but he clings to the thought anyway, like a lifeline he can't afford to let go of. School ends and he walks out like someone strung together with frayed wire and stubbornness. Bakugo bumps his shoulder hard on the way past. Izuku staggers but doesn't fall. That feels like a victory. He runs, aimlessly through the streets, because he needs to run. Running is the biggest part. The other objectives he can accomplish at home, in his room, but running is impossible inside. He jogs. Slow. Shaky. The longer he runs the more every step is a tiny explosion of pain. But he forces himself forward. He takes breaks. He tries very hard to pace himself and not panic as the sun starts to set. His legs ache in waves. His arms swing loosely, like he doesn't control them fully. His breathing goes ragged fast, too fast. He slows but keeps moving. He feels like he's underwater. The world fuzzes at the edges. He tries to remember how many kilometers he has left, but refuses to waste energy to stop and check. He stumbles. Keeps going. Stumbles again. His foot catches on something, maybe a crack in the pavement, maybe nothing at all, and he stumbles hard, arms flailing as he barely manages to keep himself upright instead of smashing face first into the concrete. Air tears in and out of his lungs. His chest burns like it's on fire. For a moment, he just stands there, bent forward with his hands braced on his knees, vision swimming at the edges. Every breath feels shallow, useless. His legs tremble beneath him, threatening to fold. But stopping isn't an option. Izuku straightens with a shaky inhale and pushes off again, forcing his feet to move even as his body protests. Determination drags him forward by sheer stubbornness now, thin and fraying, stretched to its limit. Maybe going home wouldn't be so bad, he thinks desperately. Not stopping, just adjusting. Being practical. If he heads in that direction, then once he finishes the run, once the numbers finally tick over, he won't have to cross the entire town afterward. He can just go inside. Sit down. Rest. It sounds reasonable. Smart, even. He clings to the thought as he jogs on, ignoring the quiet, sinking feeling that he's already asking too much of himself. He makes it home on something that isn't really strength anymore. The apartment building appears in front of him and it feels unreal, like a mirage he's been chasing for miles. Izuku fumbles with his keys, drops them once, stares at them on the ground like he's forgotten what they're for before bending down to pick them up. His hands won't stop shaking. The door clicks open. "I'm home," he calls, but the words scrape out of his throat. Inko is there almost immediately. She takes one look at him and freezes. "Izuku?" "I'm fine," he says, because that's the answer he always gives. It comes out slurred at the edges. He doesn't wait for her to finish whatever she's about to say. Moving feels urgent, like if he stops he won't start again. Just tired. Worked out too much. She follows him into the kitchen anyway. Her eyes don't leave him. He can feel them, heavy and worried. "You should sit down," she says. "I'll get you something to eat." He nods, too exhausted to argue, and sinks into a chair like gravity has suddenly doubled. When the food is set in front of him, he stares at it for a second too long, brain lagging as it tries to remember what to do next. Oh, right. Eat. He eats fast, mechanically, barely chewing. The warmth helps a little, but not enough. His hands keep missing his mouth. Rice scatters across the table. He doesn't notice until Inko quietly wipes it up. "You're pushing yourself again," she says softly. "Not," he mumbles, because correcting her would take effort. "Just, workout." She doesn't look convinced. The clock on the wall ticks. Loud. Each second feels heavier than the last. Izuku stands too quickly, the room tilting hard enough that he has to grab the back of the chair. "Gonna finish something," he mutters, already backing away. Inko opens her mouth, then closes it. "Please don't overdo it," she says instead. He nods again, because nodding is easier than explaining. His room feels darker than usual. Smaller. He shuts the door and slides down it, sitting on the floor for a second he tells himself will be 1 breath. 2. 3. His thoughts drift. Numbers float through his head without lining up. Push-ups. Distance. Time. The system window flickers into existence only when he forces it to, and even then it swims in front of his eyes. Not done. Not even close. A tight, panicked feeling twists in his chest, but it's dulled, wrapped in cotton. Everything feels far away. His eyelids are so heavy. Just a second of rest. Then he'll keep going. The clock keeps ticking. He means to stand. Midnight is getting closer. He really does. His eyes close without asking permission. He doesn't even feel himself fall asleep. He doesn't feel the cold shift in the air. Doesn't hear the crackle of distortion around him. Star operator, daily quest failed. Initiating penalty zone. Star operator. His eyes flutter open just long enough to see the screen and for panic to grip his heart. 1 second he's at home. The next. A portal tears open beneath him. He doesn't even have time to scream before he drops. Cold stone slams against his side. Dust puffs up around him, thick and dry. Izuku coughs, scrambling upright, eyes wide and wild. He's in a dungeon? A cavern? The air is stale and heavy, lit faintly by torches that flicker with sickly orange light. Is this another part of the Shadow Castle? A notification pings sharply behind his eyes. Star operator, penalty quest initiated. Survive 4 o'clock, star operator. Izuku's heart stops. A sound echoes in the darkness. Step. A slow, deliberate, heavy step. Izuku whips around. And freezes. A figure stands at the far end of the corridor, tall enough to brush the broken archway above it. Crimson-lined black armor catches the dim light, edges sharp and deliberate, every plate fitted with unsettling precision. A long cape hangs from its shoulders, unmoving despite the draft curling through the hall. It doesn't advance. It doesn't breathe. Its helm tilts slightly, as if acknowledging him. A sound scrapes behind him. Izuku's throat closes. Izuku turns just in time to catch a glimpse of a tall, humanoid figure emerging from the shadows. For half a heartbeat it almost looks human until the shape of its head registers, angular and insect-like, and a pair of sharp pincers part with a faint click. Its dark, plated skin gleams dully in the light, clawed hands flexing as it leans forward. The creature screeches. And Izuku? He runs. He doesn't think. He doesn't plan. He just bolts, feet slamming against stone as if speed can erase the fear boiling in his chest. The hallway stretches on and splits, opening into a maze that feels endless. Every breath burns. Behind him, heavy armor moves like a drumbeat, quick, steady, relentless. He keeps running. The knight runs behind him, armor clanking with every step. The insect thing chases too, a shadowy shape snapping forward with a hiss. Izuku bolts. 3 hours 45 minutes and 19 seconds remaining. A blade flashes beside him. It grazes his side. Pain flares. He cries out, but keeps moving anyway. The insect creature screeches, a sound that crawls into his skull. He feels claws scrape his back. He stumbles, then forces himself upright. He runs. 3 hours 21 minutes and 4 seconds remaining. He turns a corner and sees a narrow gap between two broken walls barely wide enough for his shoulders. His brain doesn't process it. But his body does, and he shoves himself forward. Stone scrapes his ribs. The gap bites into his skin. His shirt catches and tears. He doesn't stop. He doesn't slow down. He wriggles through, tearing cloth and flesh as he squeezes into the tight space. He bursts out the other side, coughing, lungs burning. For a second, he's hidden. His chest heaves. Pain radiates along his torn side. He watches through the gap just long enough to see them. The knight's armor clanks as it passes the opening. The insect creature slips past, a shadow with pincers, and both of them continue without pause. Izuku doesn't linger. He forces himself to move again. It feels like barely a few seconds pass before, without warning, they reappear before him again like they never left. The knight is there first, blade swinging. The insect creature follows, claws snapping. Izuku barely has time to react. He runs. 2 hours 47 minutes and 59 seconds remaining. He turns, runs, turns again. His lungs burn. His legs shake. The knight's blade cuts his thigh just enough to sting, just enough to bleed. The insect creature slams into him, pushing him forward like a battering ram. His vision blurs. He keeps going. 2 hours 10 minutes and 35 seconds remaining. Another corner. Another possible escape. A small opening high in the wall, too narrow for either of his hunters, but maybe just wide enough that Izuku can fit through. Izuku sees it and throws himself at it. His fingers catch the edge. He pulls himself up. Or tries to. He is so tired, and his arms feel like they will give out any second. He's almost there. But his body is too slow. Too tired. The gap is too high. The night is already closing in. The insect thing is behind him, screeching. Izuku slams his foot into the wall and tries to push himself into the hole, but the opening slips away. His fingers lose their grip and he's forced to drop back down. No time to waste. He runs. 1 hour 33 minutes and 48 seconds remaining. The hallway opens into a long corridor. For a moment, he thinks he's lost them. He takes a breath. He doesn't have time to finish it. The night appears at the far end. The insect creature drops down from the ceiling in front of him. Izuku's heart spikes. He bolts. 58 minutes and 3 seconds remaining. He can't feel his legs. He can't feel his arms. He can only feel the chase. The knight's sword knocks him off balance again, blunt force, not a clean cut. He hits the ground hard, ribs cracking against stone. He forces himself up. The insect thing is already there. It claws his side. Izuku screams. He runs. 11 minutes and 22 seconds remaining. His mind is fog. His body is a nightmare. He doesn't know how long he's been running. He doesn't know how long he can keep going. He just knows the sound behind him never stops. He trips. He falls. He tries to stand. But his body refuses. The knight's blade swings. The insect thing lunges. Star operator, penalty quest completed. Star operator, everything goes white. The monsters vanish. The corridor disappears. Izuku lies on the ground, shaking and bleeding. But alive. He survived. TBC.
Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed the video, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification. So when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.